Radio fans, and welcome back to another edition of Davey Mac's Tales from the Satellite. I'm your host, Bobby Tamburo, and joining me as always is the star of our show, Babe the Blue Ox of Radio, Eastside Dave McDonald.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you so much. Thank you to all the dogsies. Trademark that shit. Thank you to all the East Side Davidians. Trademark that shit. And thank you to all of the people, the fans loving and watching Davey Mac's Tales from the Satellite. This show is on fire, and we have done so many great episodes. I don't know if this is 28 or 29, but again, make sure you're subscribing on the old patreon.com/EastsideDave. We put old ones up on YouTube so that everyone can enjoy Tales from the Satellite, but the new ones are a month, sometimes 2 months in advance of everyone. For anywhere else, you're going to get it on patreon.com/EastsideDave first. And we got a controversial topic today. A lot of our topics are controversial, Robert, but this one might get personal, Daddy.
And that's actually one of the complaints that comes. But before we get into all that, today we're talking about Dave's battle with pericarditis.
That's pericarditis.
Oh boy, we're going to have to rewrite the whole episode. We'll be right back.
Jesus. Welcome to the Ron and Fez show on XM Radio. Doesn't get any better than Ron and Fez. The best thing going. Pericarditis, a very serious infection of the heart that nearly killed Bob Dylan a few years ago. As someone who experienced the pericarditis, had to go to the ER for the pericarditis, thought he was dying for a good, 10 days to 2 weeks straight. It felt like you're having a heart attack for 2 straight weeks.
We hear a lot
awful.
We hear a lot of vivid descriptions from callers who either went through it or knew somebody who did it. And the best description I heard is it's like your heart's made of leather and it starts to get tight, and then someone takes a knife in and starts twisting. And that's what you felt for like 2 weeks. And
the pain of pericarditis is the worst pain. I want you to keep in mind, and no grudge here, but I was hit by my brother Wally with the car. He ran over my foot. The controversial conspiracy theorist in me believes he did it on purpose because I had erased. There was this Nintendo game called Baseball Stars. And if you put in enough time in the game, you could create your own guys, and then you could give your guy like 100 on slugging, 100 on hitting, 100 on fielding and running and all this shit. And my brother had pissed me off, and so I erased his team. That took him like a few months to build. I want everyone to keep in mind he was also 8 years older than me at the time. So anyway, I'm like 14, he's like 22. It's the summertime, and he realized I had fucking erased his goddamn baby. That was the first time I was ever called a cunt. He said, "You goddamn cunt."
Oh my God.
And then a couple days after that, I'm getting out of the van We had a Volkswagen van, one of those hippie mobiles, Sweet Pickles type buses. I'm getting out of the van. Okay, I step on the ground, and immediately he takes off. Boom, right over the foot. Drove him right over the foot, broke the foot, broke my right foot. I've also, and pericarditis, 50 times worse than that. I've also had my ACL, okay, totally destroyed in baseball in high school when some fucking moron first baseman, and I play first base, right? I've always told you, Robert, you got to know not only sports, you got to know sports etiquette, dog. If you don't know the fucking sports etiquette, don't go on the fucking field. And I hit a ball. I had 2 doubles that day. Pitcher fooled me on a curve, so I hit a little ground ball to the first baseman, but he had to move over to his right to get it. So there's going to be a little bit of a race. Davey Mack, fucking Charlie Hustle over here. Pete Rose Jr. is what they call me.
The Bernie Williams of Little League.
I fucking sprint my ass off to first. Here's the golden rule, ladies and gentlemen, and I knew this as a first baseman. When you're a first baseman, you never run through the bag. If it's a play at first base where you're literally trying to beat the runner, you can do one of 2 things. You can run and slide feet first and try to hit it, or you can slide head first and try to touch the glove try to touch the base with the glove. Or you can just run and touch the base, but then you kind of have to pull up a little bit. You don't run through the bag. Why? Because the base runner has the right to run through the bag. So if the base runner is running through the bag and you run through the bag, you're going to fucking collide. And we both were out for extended periods of time, the first baseman and me, because that jagoff didn't understand that the fielder never runs through first base. You don't do it. The runner runs through first base. Fuckhead.
It's the only base.
Pericarditis was worse than that. I mean, I've gotten fucking injured. I got poisoned when I was a youngster. That was a big deal. I almost drowned as a child in Newport Beach, California. No memory of that. I know that I was a fucking blue baby.
Your family was just trying to get rid of you, Dave.
They
tried to poison you. They tried to drown you. I will say,
crazy.
If I was hitting and I was in your position, it wouldn't have been a problem, because if it's that close, I'm going through the first baseman. I'm not even making a play at the bag. I'm head hunting, because I know I'm not fast. But what can I do? I can send a message.
No, I mean, I ran through the first base the way anyone who hits a baseball would run through first. I'm not thinking the first baseman's going to do that, because don't do that. I played the position. So the fact that he did that fucked us both. That's the point. Otherwise, I would have fucking tackled his ass.
I'm saying, you ever seen the play where the guy lays down the bunt and then just takes the pitcher out? That's what I'm going for every time I hit the ball. I'm like, who can I hit on this base path? But that's because I'm a terrible baseball player.
But I mean, I've had some significant injuries and illnesses. Nothing compared to pericarditis. Nothing. And I'll even say with the other incidents that we've discussed here on Tales from the Satellite. Go and check these classic episodes in the archives there. But we've talked about the hot sauce in my ass, in my dick hole,
which went to the hospital.
And we talked about me with Jared shit challenge and drinking soap, and also going into the hospital.
The hospital.
Pericarditis was worse than those 2 incidents, okay? By far, because this lasts for a fucking 10 days to 2 weeks. You feel like, oh my God, if I move, all you can do is lay. And even if you sit up, you feel like, oh shit, I might have a heart attack. It was the worst.
And to this day, do you know how you got it? Like what the cause of it was? Because a lot of speculation.
Bad luck.
Okay, because a lot of speculation's made in the call, and that's why I was curious if they ever found the root cause.
Speculation?
Yeah, by callers and stuff. Some coming to Fez's defense, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, we're getting ahead
I'm glad you feel so strongly about how painful it was, because it seems like this has been a bit of a contentious issue behind the scenes, and maybe a few comments have slipped out, because the real incident starts when Greg calls in. A caller named Greg, and he goes, "Hey, I just got the news. My neighbor was a truck driver. perfectly healthy guy for 45 years old, and then he dropped dead because of pericarditis. What's it called?
Pericarditis.
From that heart thing Dave had.
I
Pericarditis.
can't tell you how serious it is. Just Google pericarditis, and if you want, Google Bob Dylan pericarditis. And they're like, oh, the guy almost died. He had pericarditis attack.
And right away,
It's an
Ron.
infection of your heart sac.
Oh, yeah,
In
we should have
other
explained
words,
that.
the sac right by probably the number one fucking organ in your body. So in other words, the infection's on the heart sac. If it gets through the sac, you're dead.
Which happened to this guy.
Yes.
It's basically a tightening of all the muscles. It hurts for your heart to pump. So instantly Ron goes, that's why I'm so worried about Dave. You know, I think about him all the time. Most of my attention's focused on Dave. He's clearly going through the worst heart thing anybody's gone through on this show, which is just him kind of, much like we talked about the knife in your heart, it's him sticking the knife in Fez a little bit and starting to twist.
What year is this?
I don't know the year. I know Fez has had 2 heart attacks because he claims that a lot.
What kind of fucking master of research are you? That's like basic information.
I barely have a bachelor's in political science, Dave. I could assure you I don't have a master's in research.
Your responsibility must always be what fucking year this shit is. Also, I ask that question every episode. Maybe this is why, you know, every once in a while, put down the fucking weed, you goddamn fucking grass head.
You know, that's a fair point. Some could say if this was the worst pain you've ever experienced, you'd remember what fucking year it was, but that's just me.
Do you know how high I was? They had to treat me on fucking oxycodons and Percocets and all this shit. I was so fucking high on pills and goddamn pharmaceuticals, I didn't know if I was on planet Earth. So excuse me for not knowing the year. I'm just the guy suffering from fucking pericarditis, and you're supposed to be the goddamn host of the show and the research master.
Master, research master.
Yeah, well, fucking get the, you know, come on.
I will find that and we'll figure it out. And
don't worry. It's probably 08. You know, the reason why I'm asking is because I don't remember when Fez's heart attacks occurred. Did he have any heart attacks before Sirius XM?
I don't think he had any before Sirius. No, I think Sirius was the first place it happened.
Wow.
Because he had 2 at this point, and he keeps bringing that up. So right after that caller hangs up, Fez kind of goes, I don't know.
By the way, we miss Fez. Let's even though this is going to be all kind of controversial episode, we love Ron and Fez, obviously. Okay, we're just talking the good old times and the good old show. But wow, okay.
Absolutely. And I don't think the real beef here is between you and Fez. I think it's between Fez and someone else.
Interesting.
But we'll get into that. So, you know, Fez goes, I had my heart attacks and I was in the hospital. They kept me in the hospital. Dave goes home every night. He's not that sick. Like, if he was that at risk of dying, they wouldn't let him leave the hospital. And
I don't know what. Okay, well, I got a couple of different philosophies on that. I didn't have the same insurance as Fez did. When you're only getting $37,000 from the penny pinchers known as Sirius XM, even though you're the greatest fucking producer in the history of radio. And, when you only make that kind of salary, your insurance is equally as shitty. So they're like, yeah, pericarditis, you could die from this. Here's a whole bunch of drugs. Lay in bed, be high, and don't do anything. Otherwise, you might die. So excuse me for not having great fucking insurance. That's, again, I would say that's more of an American healthcare issue than,
And as Ron points out to Fez, like, is somebody in outpatient care that's getting chemo very sick for cancer? And Fez goes, yeah. And he goes, that's what David, like, you're going in, you're getting your test done. They're tracking.
That's an excellent point. By the way, I am a cancer survivor. I know people don't it's not the same as other, well, it should be. I have fucking goddamn malignant fucking cancer. Goddamn thing on my head that I had to get fucking lasered off.
That actually looks pretty sick, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I had malignant fucking cancer. So, like, you combine that, and that was before. Like, I've had malignant cancer things because I grew up as a child of the 80s, a teenager of the 90s. I'm proud of it. But in the 80s, I was at the beach every goddamn day. And Beanie Mac, she had no idea that a fucking little moronic, goddamn soulless ginger like myself needed, copper tone 9000. Like I should have been at the beach with like a space helmet and a flannel shirt. And because I was at the beach all the time, now later in life, the malignant things pop up and I got to get them lasered off. But if I don't get them lasered off, it'll cause legit skin cancer. So you're talking about a skin cancer guy who then has pericarditis. This is big shit.
Yeah, 100%. And I think there's two schools of thought here. One could be Fez is having to step up, right? Like a lot of the time when you were in, this is the era where people are saying Dave's kind of becoming second mic, even though Fez is still there. Like he's not talking as much; he's doing behind the scenes things.
Oh boy.
So
this era,
it's that era
where every fucking Dick, Tom, and Harry would come in and be like, "Tell him to stop talking so much. Dave talks too much." And I'm like, I'm talking a lot because I'm being asked to. I'm being asked to contribute to the show and bring a lot of enthusiasm and energy and creativity. Nothing that I'm doing is bad. I'm being asked to do this, so that's why I'm doing this. You see?
Oh, absolutely.
Fucking no team player has been punished more in the history of radio for being a team player than me. And that's not for Sirius XM. That's for anywhere I've worked.
Oh,
including
absolutely.
that shithole 95.9 The Rat. Hosted by, because of that program director, that fucking pussy-ass weasel, Carl Kraft, who asked me contribute 9,000 ideas and then never give me credit. Hey, you fucking pussy-ass bitch. Actually, this is way more about that place than Sirius XM. But I will say that this also began in Sirius XM, where it's like, Dave's stepping up, Dave's fucking contributing, Dave's trying to do anything, and then it's tell him to get off the mic. I remember when I love Mooch. But this is the shit that I would have to deal with. Dave, come in, be third mic, fucking rock and roll. Okay, I will. And then a fucking person would come in every 3 months or 4 months, and the suggestion would be, Dave shouldn't be in the studio. Have him talk less. Let's get it back to Ron and Fez. And it's like Dave was being asked to come in here because, not throwing Fez under the bus, Fez was going through some shit. So it's the Ron and Fez show, and it always will be. But I had to come in and just fucking, shoot the ball a little bit. Fucking shoot the goddamn basketball from 3 a few times. Just chill the fuck out.
Absolutely. And I think Fez recognized that. And I think he realizes you not being there, he has to step up again, right? It has to be the Ron and Fez old dynamic where there's somebody for Ron to talk to, somebody to fill in that role. And so he's doing what he used to. He's taking the contrarian opinion that, oh, no, Dave's not that hurt. Let me be the guy. You know what I mean? And a lot of people call in and go, oh, look, it has to be about you, Fez. You're saying your heart attacks were worse than Dave's thing. But that's his way of having something to talk about, right? Like,
I got no issues with that. No issues with that. I agree with what you're saying. There was always a lot of agreement. Like Earl would agree with Ron, and everyone agrees with Ron. And so I would obviously sometimes, even to my own detriment and intellect, simply disagree, because you can't have everyone having the exact same opinion on the show. Otherwise, why even bring up the fucking topic in the first place?
Good point. Yeah.
Like if all 4 people on the show hate the Olympics, all you have to do is, hey, all 4 members of the Ron and Fez show hate the Olympics. Anyway, moving on. So there's no reason to talk or discuss or debate. So I would oftentimes take an opposing opinion. Yes, that's true, and that's fair.
And Fez would do the same thing. Like, even going back to...
By the way, if I took an opposite opinion, I wasn't trying to just bullshit. Like, I would try to be like, almost a method actor in terms of, okay, I'll take an opposite opinion, but let me find at least one little point that I can kind of actually sincerely believe in. That's what I would do. I'll find something that I can be real about and sincerely believe in, but it'll be the opposite.
And I think Fez would do that same thing. And I think I think that's what he's doing here. It's almost like, to use the Olympic metaphor, since we're in the Olympic season.
We're doing a little Olympics right now, unless you're watching on YouTube, and then you're probably getting this fucking shit in September.
Well, hopefully the men's team has won the gold by then. But it's almost like LeBron coming in and having to carry the team and being like, I remember how to do this. I remember how to be the guy. So he steps in and he goes into that role. Even if you go back to, I have a secret, like being the guy who won't just say that. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yes.
I think that's what he's doing here. And people are looking at it and going, oh, he's jealous of Dave, when in reality, he's just trying to make good radio. And the
Yeah.
fact
No,
that
I
we're
think I agree.
over 15 years later still talking about it means he was kind of successful, even though in the moment, both you and Fez are very good at in the moment looking at looking like the bad guy and then going. So I think he's stepping into that role some.
Fair,
But
fair, and I would agree with that, and I think that that's a really great thing that Fez did.
absolutely, and I think it was going very well. The callers are calling in mad at Fez. A lot of the calls start with, I'm not a huge Dave fan, but come on, man, the man's in serious pain. And you're like, like that's a great heel turn.
I love those fucking kind of calls. Hey, I hate Dave as much as the next person.
Yep, exactly.
but
back off a little bit. He's trying.
Hey, listen, Fez, I mean, Dave really fucking sucks, but I gotta tell you, on this one.
And Fez, is like, I had 2 heart attacks. And Ron goes, heart attacks, plural? This is the first I'm hearing of a second one. I know you have 2 stents. I didn't hear you had 2 heart attacks, though. And Fez is like, okay, good point. And the callers.
So he's had 1 heart attack at this point. So then he definitely then had the 1 heart attack at Sirius XM.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is like shortly thereafter.
Okay.
Because you point out when you call in that he's been going through a lot of stuff. But it's kind of tough to tell. Is this Fez really clinging to the fact that heart attacks are worse than pericarditis? Or is it that he's being that guy for radio?
I will make a suggestion and say he's just fucking around on the radio.
I think so too.
100%. I believe that, and obviously, we got tons of fucking great audio. By the way, this is what the show's about. The show is not about, only because Robert, and I know I shouldn't let one fucking comment do this to me. We have had nothing but love. Honestly, I'm not even just trying to sell the show, but it's been 99.9999999% everyone thumbs ups and loves, whether they watch it on Patreon, listen on Patreon or YouTube, or by the way, it's on the podcast version. You can get it on your iTunes, your Spotify, your Amazon Music, etc. Okay, so either way, you want to watch it, you want to listen to it. But this one guy commented, enough of Dave and Robert talking. Get to the audio. I'm like, you can go to YouTube and find the fucking audio anytime you want. The point of the show is you're getting an insider's opinion. You're getting insider's viewpoint on behind the scenes shit that happened that you cannot get on YouTube or Sirius XM. You cannot get this type of behind the scenes access to the Ron and Fez show anywhere outside of Ronnie B. Earl's not going to tell you shit. And Chris Pepper Stanley wasn't there for half the shit I was a part of. So outside of Ronnie B, but you're not going to get it anywhere else. So this is the fucking show with the great audio. If you don't like it, take your ass somewhere else. Fucking YouTube Dave Pericarditis. There, go and be gone with you. But this is the fucking show. And again, 99.999% of people love the show, so I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm having a good time. Thank you, Robert.
And it's almost like we're the director's commentary, and somebody's like, why does the director keep giving insight into what's going on?
At first, I wrote 9 paragraphs to this one sentence, which was like, enough of the blabbering, get to the audio. I'm like, that the blabbering is actually the show. We include the audio to kind of add more of to let you know, like, what's, like as a reference to this, not the other way around. This show is designed for Ron and Fez fans who want to hear a little bit of behind the magic of the Ron and Fez show and Opie and Anthony show and Sam and Dave and Sirius XM. You don't want to hear that? Fine. Take your ass somewhere else. I don't fucking care.
Well, Dave, I do fear that you've done what occurred in the thing we are talking about, and you've allowed one fan to spin you. Because the next thing that happens in our story is that you call into the Ron and Fez show. Do you recall this at all?
No. So first of all, I was called.
Oh, we heard. The description was my phone went off like a pinball machine.
Who, me?
That's what you said.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm sitting there and my phone goes off like a pinball machine.
Yeah.
And I just think that's a beautiful metaphor for a kid of the 80s, teenager of the 90s.
That's true. My phone was going off, but I'm pretty sure that Earl called me and said, "Would you like to be on the air?" Now, again, this is the critical part of this. This is very critical. For real, I was beyond fucking out of my head. I'm not just saying this to say it. I was under oxycodons, Percocets, Vicodins. No, I mean, they gave me everything. And they're like, basically, you have to take this shit as prescribed and lay down for 10 weeks. I mean, not 10 weeks, 10 days, and don't die. Like, take this shit, don't have any stress, don't die. So I was following fucking doctor's orders, pilled out of my head. So I do want that for the record. Pilled out of my head is absolutely what was going on here.
Well, I am going to go take some pills right now, and we'll be back right after these short messages.
Greg in North Dakota, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, boys, how are you today?
Yeah.
Good, glad to hear it. Listen, I had a buddy a few years ago, a truck driver much like myself. Hadn't heard from him for a while, called him, and I got a call from his neighbor, and he was having a funeral for him because he had pericarditis, and he was in the hospital for almost a month. The inflammation carried on as it did.
Yeah. So it's a very dangerous thing that Dave's going through right now.
Dave hasn't even been admitted. He goes back and forth at home every night.
So what is your point?
The pericardium dried up to like leather, and it just got hard, and they couldn't do anything about it, and essentially it tightened up like a wet glove. And like the gloves that wouldn't fit OJ, and it killed him. It stopped his heart.
Oh, my God.
Oh, if it was that serious, Dave would be in ICU.
This is much worse than anything I've ever even heard about before. Flip, Kentucky, Ron and Fez show.
Fez, I don't want to be mean, but aren't you maybe a little jealous that Dave is kind of taking your spot on the show, and now he's going to start getting attention for health reasons?
Well, Dave needs my full attention right now with what he's going through.
Why does he need your full attention?
He's a very sick man.
He has an inflammation.
Of the heart.
I had 2 heart attacks.
Not today.
No.
But when you did, I paid attention to you.
My heart is damaged. I walk around with a scarred heart every day.
You don't have a scarred heart. You have a stent.
I have 2 stents, but from that heart attack, where blood flow was cut off, that's all dead heart there.
Was your chest cut open?
No.
Then this is a lot worse. Brian, Los Angeles, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the tests. Fez, if Dave was admitted to the hospital and they didn't see anything life-threatening wrong, like a blockage like you had, then they're going to send him home and bring him back for tests every week or so. I have 2 holes in my heart, and I had heart surgery. And when I went in with chest pains, they said, hey, let's do this test and this test until we find something wrong, and then they found the 2 holes. So it's not necessarily, it doesn't make his less severe. It's just that, maybe it's not as life-threatening. They didn't see the blockage right away, but he still has to go through all these tests.
Yeah,
he's in severe pain.
He's in severe Percocets.
That's why he's had to take off time.
Yes, because these tests keep getting drawn out day after day. Where if it was a serious matter, everything would be taken care of. They wouldn't let him out of their sight.
It's a serious matter. Here's Tom Houston. You're on Ron and Fez.
This is the most I've heard Fez participate in a long time. Now that Dave's out, regain your position, big man. Regain your position. See ya.
I'm sitting right here in my position. Don't you worry about it, buddy.
Dan in Ohio. You're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Fez, at least Dave shows up for this show and his other show.
Don't do monkey grunts. We don't know when Dave will get back. We have no idea.
It'll be Saturday.
No, we don't work on Saturday.
Special delivery does. He'll be back Saturday. 9 o'clock or whenever the Sam and Dave show comes on.
You don't even know for sure?
I'm not sure.
Do you even listen?
I've listened before.
Now,
wandered away.
Now, knowing what I know about Dave, I'm going to cherish my special delivery tapes. Oh, we do have Eastside Dave on?
Yep.
All right, well, I got to put most of my attention right now on Dave because what he's going through. Perhaps the worst of all the 202 problems over the years.
I don't think it's worse than heart attacks.
Did you have heart attacks? Because I've never heard that before. I know you got stents, but did you have heart attacks?
Yes, I had heart attacks.
Here's the man of the hour, Eastside Dave McDonald. Dave!
Oh, brother.
Thank you so much.
How you doing, big man?
Thank you. Oh, Ronnie B, I'm all right. I'm just trying to make it through, baby.
You're living like a hero.
Yeah, I don't feel very good. And then I was resting. I was, as they say, resting.
Mm-hmm.
And then my phone started to go off like a pinball machine.
Uh-huh.
Doot. And then people say if Fez is mad at me or Fez is doing something. I wasn't able to catch it.
Fez wants nothing but the best for you, Dave. And I wasn't going to talk about this till I get it done, but I'm going to talk to Fez and Sirius about this. I would like to get some kind of a Sirius Purple Heart Award for
Thank you.
A guy like Dave who gives so much of himself, taking the bus back and forth to work every day, that finally that heart that I believe is 10 sizes too big gave out.
Right.
I have a Purple Heart, literally.
This is Dave time.
That's because you eat too much grape candy.
Dave, how are the perks?
The perks are good. By that you mean Percocets? Right?
Yeah.
The perks are good, but I've run out of them right now.
All right.
So, yeah. So that's upsetting to me.
Look, first of all, you have a phone. You have to call in your regular doctor, make a call. I feel like my heart is collapsing. My God, I can't take the pain. It's like there's a fire. You hang up from then you call the hospital. Repeat the same story, and at certain points, make sure you groan and scream.
Yes.
And then let them know, I can't get back and forth. I need to double dose.
Exactly.
So when that's back, you're going to have 4 different scripts.
Well, personally, I feel like I should be getting perks just for the bus ride now.
Right.
Now that I know how perks work,
right.
At least I'm finally able to sleep. I haven't slept in a long time, so that's been nice. So, but I know I've been very ill, despite Fez's doubting Thomas's viewpoint, and furthermore, I had already canceled special delivery for this Saturday. It's already been canceled.
So maybe now you could cancel that fucking thing that you're saying over and over, Fez.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
No, it's been canceled. It was canceled it was canceled yesterday. But I don't expect you to know these things, being that you don't like paying attention to 202, the virus, or anything that goes on our channel.
Is your show on 202?
This time the virus is in your own chest.
Exactly.
Dave, if it would make you feel better, I'll come in and do special delivery with Sam and finally knock the ball out of the fucking park.
Oh, no, that's okay, Mr.
I'd love to come in. Don't worry about a thing. You relax. I'll make them forget there even was a Dave McDonald.
Yeah, you got a lot to do on your Saturday nights. Kentucky Derby's coming on. I don't expect you to be there. It's going to be a very busy sports weekend this Saturday. I'm surprised Fez is taking this angle, though, because I'm in a lot of pain. I remember when he was in pain, I helped him out, and I didn't deride him or doubt that he was sick. So
we are back. I didn't have any painkillers. Did you?
No, I don't do pharmaceutical drugs of any kind.
Really?
Yeah, never.
Even against all of your doctors and clinicians' recommendations.
No, I mean,
they're like, Dave, you have severe ADHD. Please just take these pills.
yeah, I was supposed to take a lot of Ritalin, but I stopped doing that because I just didn't care for it. And the only time I was doing Oxycontins and Percocets and Vicodins literally was this time. Literally was this moment. And then there was Xanax, but I stopped. The Xanax thing. It was just I stopped that because it's like, what the hell?
I've heard one person who, when you said you were on Xanax, went, "Oh boy, I remember when he was on Xanax. Thank God he's not." So, I don't know. Well, he didn't give any more details. It was just thank you. Say a prayer right now and thank God you didn't know Dave on Xanax.
Jesus.
But I did have some experience with pharmaceuticals. I used to do a show for a while called The Dump, and we had a segment called Painkiller Wednesday, which is where my landlord would find random painkillers and give them to us to take on air. And I don't remember any of those episodes.
Yeah, no.
So I can only imagine what you were going through when you called in. And like you said, you got a bunch of messages and stuff. I believe Casey was with you at the time because you used her phone to call in. And
really?
So, yeah, it comes up later. We learned that. But so you've been spun to be angry. You call into the phone.
Wait. Spun. I am angry because I don't take days off unless something is wrong with me. Even if I'm sick, I don't take days off unless I'm so sick that I'm like, either I'm going to get everyone else sick or I just can't even think. But outside of that, like, I'm the fucking Iron Man. I come to work. I come to play. I'm always wanting to rock and roll on the mic. That's what separates me from a lot of others. Once they make it big, it's like, then all of a sudden they got the Howard Stern, work week. Oh, let's add a day here. Let's add a day there. Next thing you know, they're on fucking, 2 days a week. And I'm like, that's not what I want to do. I actually feel most alive and happiest when I'm doing shows. It's when I'm not doing shows that I think of either walking into traffic or jumping off a bridge. Doing shows is when I'm happiest. So I wouldn't stay home unless I fucking was fucked up, and I was.
And the number of times through working with you, you came in, you were like, "Don't touch me, I'm sick." And we were like, "Oh man, we can cancel." And you're like, "No, I'll be fine as soon as the show starts."
As soon as that goddamn red light hits, I'll be a fucking star. And I'll be a star for an hour or an hour and a half or however long the show is. And then once that red light is off, I go back to feeling like absolute shit.
It's truly like Jordan in the flu game where they come and they wrap you in one of those metal blankets in between takes. It's amazing. Even yesterday,
if you love what you do, you don't have any motivation to stay home.
Absolutely.
I have no motivation to stay home.
Even yesterday, we were supposed to record. I called you. You sounded like garbage because your throat hurt because of allergies. You were like, "I'll be fine when we start," and then the power went out, and you're like, "I would have been better. My day would have been fine if we could have just recorded." It's amazing.
Yes!
You played through the pain.
Power went out. And it was off. I didn't get power till this morning. And guess what? Tomorrow they got to shut our water down for 3 hours because of this water pressure situation I told you about.
What the fuck is
happening? And yet, every single year the rent gets raised, huh?
The rent's too damn high. I mean, you could just say you stop paying utilities. That would make sense. They cut your power yesterday. Tomorrow they're cutting the water, planning it out accordingly. But so you do call in, and to be honest, you can hear the surprise in Ron's voice when he goes, "We've got the man of the hour? Like Eastside Dave's here?" And so I don't think this was a planned thing.
All right, maybe I'm remembering it incorrectly.
No. I could definitely see them calling you.
I thought Earl said, "Can you call in?"
I could definitely see Earl doing that without talking to Ron.
Yeah, I just think being like, Earl Douglas texted me, "Can you call in?"
That would make sense.
Or something like that. That's why I was saying that was Earl. He said, "Call in," or blah, 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 because they're talking about me. And again, not a lot of sympathy from Earl for the Dave man either, because he's not thinking in terms of this guy has a very, very, very serious health issue. He's just like, "Hey, call in. Ron's talking about you."
Well,
I'm
in
like,
Earl's
okay,
defense,
I'm dying, but fine.
His only experience with serious health issues is people faking them 'cause
Yeah.
that's what he has, so he doesn't realize.
Yeah.
But also the point I was making about Percocet, so you call in, you've been spun up a little bit, like through Earl, I'm sure through Casey who was listening, you were probably listening at home, and you call in normally, non-Percocet up Dave, a sober Dave is gonna realize what Fez is doing a little bit and play into the other character. It's gonna be a fun back and forth that takes up an hour of radio and Ron doesn't have to do anything, right? Instead, all perked up Dave calls in, and that is not the experience we get. So they bring you on. The first thing you do is
Here's one thing that I'm gonna say. I'm a great worker. I'm a next level worker. You know what I mean, Robert? Radio, wrestling, that kind of worker. You know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely. You're
So
good
I
at
get fired up when people don't trust me enough to let me in on something. And they fucking start roasting me. Like again, if people who I'm either working with or I know or I'm friends with or I do a show with or whatever. Okay? If we're going to do a bit, say we're going to do a bit. But like I don't like this like I don't get trusted bullshit. Like I can fucking work.
even if you
I've proven that time and time and time and time again. I can work. So you kind of fucking let me know. But fine. Pilled up. So, all right.
But even if you hate a work, like if somebody before the show goes, "Hey, I'm going to do a paranoiditis joke," and you go, "I hate it, but go ahead." You just want the heads up that there's going to be a work or a bit coming your way. I get that.
I want to know if we're going, if part of the show, this isn't just for Ron and Fez, this is for everything. This is for Davey Mac Sports Program. This is for any kind of fucking show that I do. I want to know that we're doing a bit here or a sketch, and we'll work. And oftentimes, if I'm let in, I will do a better job.
Absolutely.
Because when I'm not let in, it's just instant anger. Because honestly, I've been backstabbed and let down my entire life.
Yeah. You're a ginger from New Jersey. We get it, man.
When people fucking go in to fucking throw me under the bus, if they don't give me a heads up, hey, I'm just doing something fun. I want to cook up a little rivalry between us. Like, again, 6 months ago, Earl fucking throws me under the bus on Instagram. He doesn't let me know in on what the fuck is happening. Why wouldn't you just be like, hey, we're trying to cook up a little traction on our show for Tales from the Satellite? Or I don't know. I still don't know what that was even about. I never got Earl fucking texting me, or I never got anyone. I called up Pepper. Remember when we had the controversy?
Oh, I
called him up. I go, what's the deal? Like, what? He's like, oh, that's just Earl. He's just doing something. I'm like,
no, his exact words were, "I don't know. Earl went into business for himself."
Yeah,
nobody knows what was going on.
Right. How about explaining it? How about fucking letting people know?
And I think what happened here on the show we're talking about is that you were never meant to be a part of this. Fez was going on. He was going to do his thing. There were going to be
blame Earl. Don't
That's
even
what I'm getting
blame
at.
my ass because he was the one who fucking texted me to call in.
Exactly. I think that's exactly what happened. Earl heard them talking about you, didn't realize what was going on because he was doing other things behind the scenes and was like, "Oh, can you call in?"
No. It's that he has no soul compassion or empathy for motherfuckers outside of himself because he didn't think of, I shouldn't text a guy who's fucking dying.
Maybe he was in the Fez camp. He's like, "Yeah, this can't be that bad." So you call in. The first thing you do right away is
you know what, though, Robert? No one loves very few people love Bob Dylan as much as Earl. Now, Ron and myself love Bob Dylan more than Earl. We're better Bob Dylan fans than Earl ever could possibly be. But yes, Earl met Bob Dylan one time where he was drinking coffee. He has that famous story. Bob Dylan was drinking coffee, and I saw him drinking fucking coffee. Good for you. He's like fucking Cosmo Kramer watching Joe DiMaggio fucking drink coffee in the diner. He talks about, he talks about his Bob Dylan story all the time. And the whole story is, I saw Bob Dylan drinking coffee. Regardless, I know the whole discography, okay?
I don't know if
Do you, Robert?
That. No, I like good music.
See, I'm one of the people who I love young Dylan, I love medium, middle-aged Dylan, and I love old Dylan. See, I go the whole goddamn gamut. And by the way, if if you're someone in, what one of my things, Robert, is to get people to stop being unoriginal and cliche motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I got a little one for you right now. People on Twitter, stop fucking saying the phrase, tell me you don't know blank without telling me you don't know blank. Like, it's just like anytime someone says something, tell me you don't know this without telling me you don't, shut up.
Yeah. I hate that.
Wait,
It's
what was I
almost
saying?
Like, something about Mr. Tambourine Man.
You're not even listening to me.
No, I know. Tell me I don't know what.
you're
Tell me
on-
I don't know what Dave was saying without telling me I don't know what Dave was
If
saying.
you don't know Bob Dylan, don't do an impression of, yeah, I don't like Bob Dylan because I don't like the beers, the answers, my friend, blowing in the wind. He hasn't sounded like that in 50 goddamn years. You understand? So you're just doing an impression of an impression of an impression of an impression at this point. You're doing like 7 degrees of impressions from fucking every single actor, comedian, SNL person for the last 40 years when he stopped sounding like that pretty much by 1970. God damn you.
I often work with another comedian who plays the guitar for the second part of his act, and that's the first joke is I feel like Bob Dylan could forget the words to a song mid-song and nobody would notice, and then he does the impression you just described.
And so does he do high voice Dylan?
He does, yeah, he does high voice, but he plays.
Hack alert! Hack alert! Sorry, dude. I know you're Robert's friend, and it's good that you didn't give me his name. But, dude, if you're going to do Bob Dylan's going to forget lyrics, do old Dylan, which is more, I don't know the lyrics. I don't know the song. I don't know the chords. Like, that is modern Dylan, and that's the guy who would forget his lyrics. Not young Dylan when he was super brilliant, stupid.
In defense, most of his guitar acts catered for people who only were big fans of young Dylan, because then he does a Tiny Tim impression to close out. And I'll tell you, Dave, nothing makes you hate doing comedy more than knowing no matter how good of a joke you tell, it's not going to stack up to a Tiny Tim fucking impression. But anyway, we're not talking about the pain in my chest. We're talking about the pain in yours. And you call in and Ron's like, how you doing, Dave? And you're like, I'm all right, Ronnie B, just hanging in there. And then you give your famous pinball line. And Ron asks you about the perks. And you go, by perks, you mean Percocets? And Ron goes, yeah. And then you go, oh, they're fantastic, but I'm out. It's so bad. And Ron gives you the most beautiful description of how you should handle your painkiller situation, which, just to summarize quickly, is basically call your main doctor, go, I'm in so much pain, I need painkillers. He'll give them to you, then go, I can't drive there, I need a double dose, and he'll give it to you. Before that gets called in, you need to call the hospital and repeat the same story. Then boom, you've got 4 times the doses of Percocets.
That's amazing.
It really is.
No, I mean, had I done that, I would have had a full-on addiction and would have been dead in 8 months.
Oh,
No,
absolutely.
If not sooner.
And in Catch-22, the guy describes how he buys eggs and makes a profit on it, and it doesn't really make sense, but it's beautiful, the process, and that's what Ron described. Like, him doing is like, oh, he knows what he's talking about here.
I mean, come on. That's probably someone who did that, but yeah, I should have thought that way. I had a very good doctor at the time, and he was actually very cool. He'd give you whatever you needed every single time,
Ron tells you he's so proud of you. He goes,
thank you, Ronnie B.
Dave, you're a warrior. I love how strong you are. Not only are you taking the bus every way, but you did it so much your heart gave out. I'm actually talking to Sirius to try to give you a Purple Heart Award, at which point Fez chimes in and goes, hey, I actually have a Purple Heart. And you give the very funny line of, that's because you eat too much grape candy. And that's when Ron starts being like, oh, so you're on the perks now, huh, Dave?
That's because you eat too much grape candy?
It gave him a Purple Heart. I
I get it. It's just that does sound like someone who is on drugs, because I'm not sure that even makes sense.
And then, let's see.
I should have just said grapes.
Grapes would have been grape
candy.
Now, you and Fez, the real heated debate at this point isn't so much about who's in worse pain. It's about, you go, I don't know what Fez's thing, that doubting Thomas, other than when my grandmother died and something else. I've never missed a day. I don't skip days. And Fez just goes, well, when I was having my heart attacks, they didn't let me leave the hospital. It can't be that bad. And you're like, oh, I'm in so much pain. And at one point you go, I got to lie down. And I thought that was, even if it was what was really going on,
I had to lie down.
Fit so comedically perfectly that it cut all the wind out of Fez's argument.
I remember only one thing of this phone call. Okay. Now I do actually remember the phone call, but like, as I think back on it, I remember flipping out and yelling, weirdly enough, as I was looking outside. Like I remember exactly where I was. Living room, we had a slide door to the outside. You take the dog out. And I just remember standing by those sliding doors, just looking outside at the trees and then flipping out. That's kind of the only time I actually have but I remember that. But if I had to lay down, it was because I literally had to lay down.
I believe it, but I'm just saying it was so perfectly timed.
Oh, I know what you're saying. What I'm saying is I'm giving you the insight.
Oh, I appreciate the insight.
Fucking A.
It's almost like your body is such a great entertainer that your brain doesn't even have to think I should say this now. It just goes, oh, let me make Dave need to lie down. That'll be hilarious. So that's what I was trying to say. It's just consummate entertainer. Take that guy who says I dick suck Dave too much. But
I know all these fucking people. What do they want Robert to do? Bash me on my show?
You're wrong, Dave. It was real.
This is the thing that the way society goes. Every fucking asshole thinks that everything is designed for specifically them and their little egocentric, narcissistic viewpoint. No, things are designed for everyone. You don't like the design of this show? Go fuck yourself and move on. Plenty of things to watch and listen to. In the meantime, we're going to keep creating gold right here. Now continue.
Absolutely. So the main contention you had, it seemed when you called in, was Fez. Ron goes, we keep saying we don't know when Dave will be back. And Fez goes, he'll be here Saturday. Ron goes, we don't work on Saturday, Fez. And Fez goes, no, that's when special delivery is. He'll definitely be here for that. So you call in and you go, I'd like to point out special delivery's been canceled for 2 weeks now because of this injury. And
that's Ron a good goddamn point on my part.
Ron goes,
that's a good fucking point on my part.
Oh, absolutely. And you're not super fired up at this point yet. You go, I canceled, and Ron goes, okay, so maybe you want to back off what you were saying, Fez, about Dave will be here. It's all about him. And Fez goes, we'll see. And it was just very funny to see him not see the point. And then Ron throws out a proposition. He goes, you know what, Dave, I'll tell you what, let's do the show Saturday, and I'll just come fill in for you. I'll hit the ball out of the park, and they'll never think about Eastside Dave again. And you go, you know what, Mr. B, Saturday's a big sports day. You're pretty busy. Let's not do that. It's what's the horse race? The Kentucky Derby?
Kentucky Derby.
How many of your incidents revolve around horse racing, Dave? Like, because the last time you got into this position was the Triple Crown to get branded, all this stuff. Because
Shit. I didn't even think about that. Horse racing sometimes. Me and horse racing. Yeah, it's a fucking weird thing. Weird relationship.
So you and Fez kind of go back and forth. You have a couple of jabs. And then you go, I just don't understand why Fez is so mad at me, Ron. And Ron goes, Fez isn't mad at you. He just wants you to relax and get healthy and come back. Now, prior to you calling in, several of the callers have started to work Fez. We talked about this with the, are you sure you're not just jealous somebody else is the sick one on the show now, Fez? And, hey, Fez, you're finally talking again. Make sure you don't let him get it. And that's actually supportive, but Fez has already been spun so much or is playing into the character. He's like, I never lost my position. I've always, and he's leaning into it and spiraling a little bit. And that's when Dr. Steve calls in.
I wish I could argue a lot stronger, but I'm kind of fucked up and ill and everything like that. And
hold on. I've got your doctor on with us right now. It's Dr. Steve. Hey, Dr. Steve.
Hello, my friends.
Any way you could write some scripts for Dave?
I think they already wrote him some scripts. He doesn't need that from me.
And then the other thing is I think I have behind the eyeball cancer, and I'm going to need some kind of painkiller for that.
Okay, that we can help you with.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't have Dave's permission to talk about his condition, but since I hear you've got him on the air, as long as it's okay with him, I'll tell you what he does need. If it's okay if I talk about it, Dave.
Go ahead.
Is he needs a new receptionist at the place that he went to. They were the rudest bunch of people I've ever talked to in my life.
That's called New Jersey.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
I got into a fight. I got into a fight with the receptionist while there.
Yeah, and then when he just called me to ask to call them to see what his status was, they started yelling at me.
What is wrong with these people, Dave? What is wrong with New Jersey?
I don't know what is wrong with receptionists in general, why they're so fat and just horrible people, and that's what I was trying to point out to her before I was told that if I don't leave, they would call the cops on me.
Yep.
So,
they did say that to you? Well, you didn't tell me that.
That to me. That's why I needed Dr. Steve to call in and get my results.
Well, I didn't realize they'd threatened you with incarceration before you got me in the middle of it. Thank you. I didn't know that.
They did. Yeah, it was not a good scene.
Sounds like you guys are going in there with a lot of attitude.
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, that's a little different story than the one I got at the time. But anyway, what he has is absolutely. I mean, he's describing it perfectly. And Dave's never been one to lay out sick. I mean, this sounds like the real deal. And we'll have some results this afternoon.
I've never called out sick in my life on the Ron and Fez show.
No,
I've called out when I've had funerals for my grandmother and when my kids have been sick.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never in my life called out sick.
he doesn't miss days, Fezzy. It doesn't happen.
He misses a ton of days. It's constant.
If you listened to what I said, it was that I don't call.
Dave,
we're in a lot of pain.
You're in a bad condition. I don't want you to get upset.
No, my heart is fucking. Hold on, I have to lie down.
Now, hey, Fezzy, in his defense, what he has is different than what you had, and the pain of pericarditis.
Doctor, don't explain it to him because everything that happens to Fez happens exactly that way to every other Earthling in the universe.
So it's more painful.
Yeah, he
Dr.
sounds
Steve?
really sick now with fighting with me. I thought he was too weak to talk.
It's more painful than what Fed has.
So we could talk.
On a scale of 1 to 10, pericarditis pain is much more acute than pain of, say, a heart attack.
Wow.
Yeah, and here's the thing: heart attack pain comes when the heart is starving for oxygen, right? So, the first thing that happens with pericarditis pain is it lasts longer. A heart attack will either go away.
Don't worry, Doc. I'm going to be in there tomorrow. I'm going to be in there, and I'll see Fez face to face to see.
Oh, good.
Dave, I don't want you to.
Don't worry about it.
I don't want you to come in here until you're ready.
This sounds like a very weak person.
I'll be ready tomorrow, Fez, because God knows I've fucking helped you out, never fucking doubted you for 1 second in these thousands of shows you've taken off.
Oh!
But you know what?
Who's got the better track record here now?
I'll fucking do. And why do you think I'm in so much fucking pain?
Dave,
Because of fucking you fucking cocksucker.
All right. That's the downstalking, I'm sure.
Here I am, right smack in the middle of something again. Wow.
So, Dr. Steve.
Yes.
It is the kind of pain that Dave is talking about.
Yeah, it's a very acute, sharp pain as opposed to the sort of dull pain that you get with a heart attack. Now, a heart attack, obviously much more serious than this, but it just goes to show you that it's not, you can't gauge the seriousness of a condition based on the symptoms alone. So,
all right, Dr. Steve.
All right, my friends.
Thank you, Dr. Steve. Thanks for trying to tell us that a heart attack doesn't hurt.
No,
Now you're mad at Dr. Steve?
I know the pain I was in.
No, I know.
The arms, the
Fezzy.
jaw, all of it, through my back.
Absolutely. But you recall, I mean, it's a dull pain that radiates to your jaw and to your arm that's associated with shortness of breath and nausea and all those things. And I'm not saying it doesn't hurt. As a matter of fact, as I said, it's much more dangerous than the pericarditis is. However, there's a serious aspect of pericarditis too. If he gets enough fluid, around his heart. It can actually stop his heart from being able to beat effectively. And the pain is, I mean, you remember when you described it, it felt like a weight on your chest. This feels like somebody stabbing you in the heart with a sharp instrument. I mean, they're just different. It's a different kind of pain. And it's a serious illness, and it's unusual, too. I've seen lots and lots of heart attacks in my career, and only a few cases of pericarditis in my career. So,
and Fez, everybody's had pain at one time or another.
Yes.
But when other people have pain, you don't try to tell them, I have more pain than you. At the same time, he got a little fucking crazy, but I'm sure that's just because he's downed out and in pain. The whole you're a cocksucker thing.
Right, yeah. But I kept hearing too weak to move, but can scream at the top of his lungs. Sounds very up and about to me.
Because you were, fucking with him just a little bit. Just a little bit there. All right,
yeah,
Dr. Steve.
Well, I'm sorry?
You sent me an email the other day.
Yes, sir.
I replied to you and then never heard back again.
Well, I'm contemplating. I was thinking about that on the way into the office today, just how I would respond to that, because when I started thinking about what we were talking about, it made me extremely anxious.
You get nervous thinking about that.
Yeah, I do.
That's so weird because you don't come up. So he writes me an idea about a concept idea. So I go, hey, this is doable. And I start to put all these other things, blah, blah, blah. I write back to him. Let me know what you think.
Uh-huh.
And then never hear back from him.
Well,
I'm like,
never hear back. It was a couple of days ago, but I promise I'm going to write you back
Dr.
about
Steve,
that.
Here's something you got to know about me. People answer back to me within minutes. Hicks knows this. All the bosses here. I expect immediate response. I didn't know whether I took you the wrong way, and the fact that I made you anxious, I surely didn't mean to.
No. You didn't make me anxious. The idea did, and that's my fault for bringing it up in the first place and then getting anxious about it.
Don't worry about it, but I didn't know you had anxious problems.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had panic syndrome back years ago, and I got over that, but I still have anxiety when I start thinking about the spotlight turning on me a little bit.
Dr. Steve, all you need to do is fail as much as I do, and then you never have to worry about failure again.
You just assume.
Yeah, you just assume. I'm going to go out and fail at this next project. I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, talk to you later, buddy.
Okay, man.
All right, bye.
We'll talk soon.
I think you blew your chance.
Ron goes, we've got your doctor on the line, Dave. Dr.
The great
Steve.
Dr. Steve. Everyone loves Dr. Steve. I love Dr. Steve. If you don't like Dr. Steve, then I don't know. There might be an issue with you. But everyone, myself included, loves Dr. Steve.
Myself included. He's helped me with a number of things.
That's
we
true.
Talked about your experience with Zoloft. He got me off, or Xanax. He got me off Zoloft and was like, cut that shit. Very good guy. When people I worked with were sick, we could call him and he would give advice. But the first thing Ron goes is, hey, Dave's sick. Can we get him some Percocets? And Dr. Steve goes, no.
I don't, Ron. I'm in North Carolina, you see. I think if I traffic Percocets to Dave in New Jersey, well, that could be a federal drug trafficking charge, Ron. And I think it's probably best if Dave gets it from his local doctor in New Jersey there.
He didn't even give him all that. He just went, I think Dave said on the Percocets there, Ron. And then Ron goes, oh, the other thing we need you for, I've got some behind the eye cancer that really hurts. Can you write me some painkillers for that? And Dr. Steve goes, yeah, I got you. So then he goes, I didn't have Dave's permission before, but can I talk about your condition? You obviously give him very quick permission to be like, yeah, go ahead. And so the first thing he points out is exactly how painful pericarditis is. He's like, it's the worst pain. It's significantly worse pain than the heart attack, which Fez goes, oh, thanks for saying a heart attack's less severe than a pericarditis. Dr. Steve goes, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it hurts worse. A pain attack's kind of dull pain. It's much more severe. It's higher risk of death, but it's less pain.
Pain, right.
And Dr. Steve is the one who I heard first say, it's 10 days to 2 weeks of severe stabbing pain. And Fez goes, I had my heart attack. I was in pain for 10 days. And Ron goes, well, was the whole heart attack 10 days, Fez? He goes, no, probably the night before the surgery. And he goes, okay. So for those 9 days leading up to it, were people saying, hey, maybe you should go get this checked out? Maybe this is signs of a heart attack. Could you have prevented the whole thing? And he goes, I guess I could have.
Oh, shit.
So,
But yeah, pain, man. Pain. Tell me.
yep. And Dr. Steve is Dr. Steve. The first thing he does is he tries to get Fez to be on his side and goes, I'm not saying it's more severe. A heart attack's more severe. It's more significant, but pericarditis is severe pain. And he's like, I've maybe seen one case in my whole career other than Dave. So it's extremely rare. So people don't really understand what people are dealing with. It's hard.
Right.
It's not commonly out there. All of which Fez is taking in one ear, out the other. He's intentionally taking everything Dr. Steve says and using it
I
against
mean,
him.
I don't know what other people think, but an infection of the heart sac with potential that if the infection gets worse and spreads into the heart, you're dead. That's what pericarditis is. Okay. Now, hell, that doesn't sound serious to folks. I don't know, but it's a killer. It'll kill you.
Somebody should write a song about that. Infection of the
Fucking
heart,
Bob Dylan.
and you're to blame.
Bob Dylan should do it, and if he did it, it would be like pericarditis, pericarditis. And see, I didn't do the high. I didn't do pericarditis is the way I nearly died like that. Again, that's like 1966 Dylan Bros. He died. That guy doesn't exist anymore.
When I worked at Compound, one of the first things that happened was Pat Dixon hated my taste in music. So he would give me CDs to listen to on my drive back and forth to get more educated. And one of the first ones was old Dylan. And he's solid. I much prefer old over young.
Yeah, Modern Times is one of the best albums you'll ever fucking hear in your life. That's 97. What was the album that came out in 2010? Wait, no, that was Modern
Can't believe
Times.
I'm still
Yeah.
doing this,
No,
just euthanizing
Time
people.
Out of Mind is a great old Dylan. That's 97. But then Modern Times, I think that was 2010, another masterpiece. Two old Dylan masterpieces right there. Anything with time in it, make sure you buy. Okay.
And I put time in a bottle. That's why they call me Jim Croce,
That's right.
who actually had a good singing voice. Anyway, so Dr. Steve emphasizes basically.
I heard that.
I know.
Just
You got to keep things
go
interesting.
on to your next Ron and Fez point. Thank you.
Dr. Steve points out the severity of a heart attack, and then he starts saying what you need to do. And he goes, the first thing, Dave, is you need a new receptionist at your doctor's office. I called him. Boy, were they rude to me. Do you remember this at all? How the receptionist treated you? Because he goes, boy, were they rude. And you go, yeah, I know. That's why. And Dr. Steve goes, that's why what? And he goes, that's why I had to have you call, because the receptionist, I was trying to ask what she thought the point of being such a fat, lazy, useless piece of shit was. And then she said if I didn't leave, she was going to call the cops. And Dr. Steve goes, oh, you didn't tell me that.
Right. Because
Did you get threatened to leave?
What?
Were you threatened into leaving the doctor's office?
There's a possibility that, I may have went. The doctor's office was literally half a mile from my house. So, I mean, like the only good thing is the hospital at the time was, I was living in Neptune, New Jersey at the time. And the hospital is in Neptune, about a mile and a half. And then the doctor's office is about a half a mile. And so, yeah, I was probably under pill intoxication and was demanding more and probably made a scene. Yeah, I could envision that. Do I remember it? No.
So then we're gonna let you off the hook here a little bit.
I'm sure it happened. I'm not even denying responsibility. I'm saying it's quite possible. But this whole pericarditis, like I had to get pilled up, so I have memories and recollections. It's like, the memories
being blacked
gonna
out,
pop up, and then everything else is blurry and hazy.
Makes sense. It's like you're browning out drinking,
Mm-hmm.
in and out. And so on air, and again, this is probably just you kicking into entertainer form. It made it seem like you set Dr. Steve up for something he wasn't ready for. It was very funny. Then Fez and you kind of get into it because Dr. Steve says if you get enough fluid around your heart, it can actually cause a heart attack. Fez keeps going, yeah, but you take so much time off. Like, and you go, I don't take days off. He goes, you do. It was this, it was the snow day, it was something before that. And this is what
If
causes you to snap.
I mean, it could because it's that something that will always make me snap. And I had an issue with this one fucking guy at this FM radio station I would work at, where he would come in front of like the PD would be like, "Hey, Davey Mack, what are you gonna be? Hey man, 4 hours and then you're gone, right?" And implying that I didn't work a lot. What the douchebag failed to realize is I was the number one digital employee. And so I was going back home to work on my much faster computer to create articles, videos, and podcasts for the website, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
When you imply that I don't work hard, you're a fucking cunt. I'm not calling this the Fez. I'm actually referring to the guy at the FM radio station. But the truth is, no one busts their ass like I do, period. And when you question my work ethic, that is the number one insult that you can give me, because I work my fucking dick off with every job I've ever had. I am the absolute poster boy of go above and beyond. So when you question my work ethic, I only see red. And that's the truth. And it's something that happens to this very day. But can you imagine a pilled up, Percocetted up, Vicodined up, oxycodoned up, fucking pill-headed Davey Mack being told, you don't work hard? First of all, the blizzard was a blizzard. There are legitimate blizzards. If I'm in New Jersey, I can't get into New York.
Keep
the
going.
other thing was my grandmother died.
Okay. Can you control that?
No! What am
I
supposed to do? Those are the only 2 times I took off, and then I had a fucking heart infection that nearly killed me and Bob Dylan.
And perhaps if you hadn't been so Percocetted up, so fired up, you would have realized the ridiculousness of what Fez was saying. The 3 days he cited you taking off were your grandmother dying, a blizzard in New Jersey, and a disease, as you put it, that almost killed you and Bob Dylan. I think he's doing a work here, playing the bad guy still. And
all right. If this was happening to you,
no.
Timber, no. You just fucking wait. You're at home, you're fucking sick, and somebody at a radio station, podcasting network, so on and so forth, says, "Oh, he takes too many days off." Whether or not the person was 100% kidding, when your work ethic gets questioned, do you have an issue with that?
Big time. 1,000,000%. I would have reacted the same way. That's one of the things I pride myself on the most.
If you have a legit work ethic and someone questions that, then you should see red. Because that is, to me, one of the biggest insults to a man that a person can give is, well, you're not, you're lazy. You take too many days off. It's like, come on. So, yeah, it's quite possible not quite possible. I'm sure he was doing a bit.
And
I'm also sure that I was pilled up and not ready to, and having a fucking pericarditis heart infection that was nearly killing me. Maybe I wasn't in the mood for that kind of bit. Maybe.
I 100% empathize with you. If I was in your position, I would be just as angry, particularly when you're on Percocets, because
there are so many things for motherfuckers to joke with me or make fun of me about. There's a million things. All I ask, and this isn't to Fez, this is to the guy at the FM and anyone else. All I ask is, don't you say a goddamn word about my work ethic. Because I'm hungrier and a stronger, harder worker than any motherfucker you'll ever meet in your life.
I've never met myself, so I'll give you that.
You will give me that.
Because I've never met myself. But if I am pilled up, I have somebody at home who's listening to the radio show, and then I go to call in, it's almost their job to prevent me from overreacting and getting spun. particularly
Earl could have given me a little bit of a heads up. They're doing a thing. Fez is going to have fun at your expense. Come in. Fez is going to fuck around a little bit. But Davey Mack, we know you're really sick. We love you. So just fuck around with Fez a little bit. That's all it takes. But Earl Douglas can't produce a fucking fart out of his ass.
Earl is 100% one option. The other option is the person at home with you who gave you their phone to call, who should have been
I'm not going to blame it on anyone who's not a professional. Earl Douglas is the fucking producer, okay, of this shit. He should have fucking said, Davey Mack, Fez is going to have a little fun, all right? But we love you. Get better, okay, buddy? He didn't say that shit.
It's a shame you delete your call logs, because a lot of my theory is around Earl isn't the one who told you to call in. So if we're saying Earl has called you and told you to call in, then you're absolutely right. It's on him.
No one was listening to the show at that time is what I'm saying. I remember being in my house watching fucking movies. We weren't listening to Ron and Fez. So no one was aware of this conversation until I was texted by Earl Douglas.
Okay.
I know you're trying to blame my ex-wife. I don't know why you're not listening to the guy who was actually married to his ex-wife. Earl texted me, call in.
Okay.
Fucking little weasel you are.
I'm not being a weasel. I genuinely think if I was outside of a show, I wasn't let's say I was doing another show. I wasn't there that day. I was sick and you texted me and were like, hey, they're talking shit about you. Even if I'm not married to you, you're just my friend. You're setting me. I think
when you're off from a radio show, you're not listening to the radio show, bro. I'm just being honest. Otherwise, don't take off.
Absolutely.
If you need off from a radio show, I'm just explaining to you how I roll. If you need off, it's because you're fucked up or you're sick. So rest. If you're sitting there, you're with your ear to the fucking radio, you should have went in. I'm not doing that. No one in my family would do that. People are just, sitting at home resting. So it was, remember, my phone blowing up like the goddamn fucking pinball machine. And then Earl texting me, can you call in?
All those people who were blowing up your phone is who I'm trying to get to. If as a friend, you're reaching out to me saying the show you work for is talking about you, as a friend, you're not helping me. You're just setting me up for failure. So I think that's a part of it, too. I
tell that to people all the time. Derek Jeter has a thing, right? He goes, I know the fucking media, like the WFAN and the radio hosts and the fucking columnists, they all have to have their loud opinions. Don't tell me them. I don't fucking care. They don't help my game in any way, shape, or form. So if you hear fucking Mike and the Mad Dog on the radio, or you see Bill Madden in the fucking Daily News and they're shouting and screaming about something Jeter did, I don't want to hear it. I don't need to hear it. It doesn't help in any way, shape, or form. And that's a philosophy that I took from Jeter, and I believe, because most of that shit, it doesn't help at all. So I don't need to be like, some guy was talking bad. I don't need to be informed about, some guy doesn't like you. And they're talking, who fucking cares?
And this is the first time I really understood that point, illustrated in almost not a failure, but in it happening because you were so Percocet out. Normally you would tune it out like Jeter. So that was why I was kind of getting to that point a little bit, was I get the idea now that you don't need to hear about it. And if you were there, if you were in the station that day, if you had been at home listening to the radio, there's a good chance you would have understood what was going on. But because you got spun, and I don't mean you got spun out of control, but because all these people reached out to you and were like, hey, they're talking shit, Dave.
Yeah, that's why it doesn't work. That's why it doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I was
Because then I get fired up, and I don't know what the hell's happening. That was the same situation that happened with Earl. That's what I'm telling fucking Earl with 6 months ago, is my phone blew up with Earl Douglas is shitting all over you on Instagram. And I'm like, what?
You just want the context, yeah.
What? Well, then give me a heads up. Is he not? Am I not expected to get fired up, Earl? Go fuck off if you think I'm not going to get fired up and you fucking thrown me under the bus and you haven't given me a heads up in any way, shape, or form. And then my phone's got to get off with Earl Douglas is fucking you up, man, on Instagram. What?
I mean,
I love that, though. I love that philosophy of someone who is so inferior to working people over and doing shit on the air. Someone who is completely inferior to me won't trust me with a bit or a sketch.
yeah, exactly.
I shouldn't be trusting you because you're the one who lacks talent.
Now,
Earl.
before we get to your big blow up, one last question, and far be it from I to be a Douglas defender. I'm not one of those people, but is it possible that you were, and I don't mean this in like a braggadocious way about you, but you were so good that Earl was just like, I can just throw him the ball, and even in this state, he'll be able to do something that's gold. And truly, it made good radio. Like, again, we're still talking about it to this day.
It was one of the most controversial things. This phone call was very, very controversial because I did say some things that I definitely regret.
Do you remember what it was? Because that's where we're at now. Fez questions your work ethic, and do you remember exactly the quote?
I said a homophobic slur. Did I not?
Not really. I don't think you said fuck off after the thousands of shows you've taken off. You can't have my back once, you fucking cocksucker.
Oh, I said cocksucker.
Yeah.
I thought I had said the F word for a gay person.
Nope.
Are
Even
you
in that
sure
moment,
about that?
I am 1000% sure you called him a cocksucker. That's what it was all about.
Oh my God. In my head, this is bizarre. Headcanon has always had me feeling guilty because I thought I had called him the F word. As far as cocksucker goes, I say that to gay, straight. I'll say that to a fucking dog who bites me. Like, I'll say that to anything.
It's my favorite Mickey Mantle story.
But that's interesting. In my head, I thought I had called him the F word, and I felt terrible about it. And I remember this. This is the part that I remember flying off the handle and just looking out the window, sad, really, just as much sad as I was enraged. Like, I can't believe this is happening. And again, that's probably the pills. That's like the influence of the drugs. I'm not blaming Fez. I'm saying, this is probably why, you might want to let the Percocet fucking Xanax goddamn oxycodone person, rest a little bit because, yeah.
Sometimes they get worked up a little bit.
They get worked up and they don't know what they're saying. But all I said was cocksucker. So now this is actually like a happy ending because I always had thought it was the other word.
Yeah, no, it was that. But my favorite part is, so I transcribe the audio so I can look for quotes and stuff in post. And it's, you, after all the fucking thousands of shows you take off, do you have my back? Oh, no. And then you hear Ron. It says, Ron, oh, no. You fucking cocksucker. And then it goes, oh, that's the Downs talking. That's clearly the Downs. Ron right away tries to shut it down. He realizes it's gone too far. He knows.
He realizes it's 100% real. 100% real.
As soon as you started the rant, you could tell he realized, oh, Dave's not working.
Simple. Davey Mack, let him in.
That's
Robert, Earl choking me, or any of the great bits. What was the first episode we did? Me and Fez pizza face incident. Remember?
The best work of all time, arguably.
We were in on it, regardless of whether you want to. I still have people going, oh, I can't believe that. Believe it. If I had assaulted Fez, which is what? Taking the co-host of a radio show and smashing his face into pizza. Ladies and gentlemen, that's called assault. I don't give a shit if it's radio or not. No one keeps their job after that, you fucking rube, you goddamn maroon. So, again, that's an example of me and Fez working. That's all I'm saying. I can be trusted because look at that fucking thing. To this day, I had that guy in Pennsylvania stalking my ass, sending me death threats, all because of the Fez Pizza Face incident. And I'm like, you got work, you fucking dork. Are you like mad when Hulk Hogan body slammed Andre the Giant WrestleMania 3? You fucking stooge. You're worked over. Now this one, there's no working. And this is what happens with an enraged Davey Mack every once in a while.
And there were some signs along the way. You could argue it looks like you might be trying to work and you're doing it too well, because like Dr. Steve starts to try to explain again and you keep cutting him off and just being like, no, doctor, no, don't waste your time. Fez will never understand. He has to be the center of attention. He has the worst pain.
I'm
he never
not
takes
working
any days
in this
off.
entire phone call.
No. But I'm saying from like Ron's perspective, where you could be like, oh, Dave's just being a little over the top here.
Gotcha.
And then it gets to this point where you're like, oh, nope, he is just being completely enraged. He is good to go.
No, he's lost it. He's uh-oh.
So
he lost it this again.
Ron says that. Fez kind of backs off here. And then Ron's talking a little bit and you go, no, I'll be there tomorrow. I'm going to be there tomorrow because you know what Fez wants? Fez wants me to get drunk. Fez wants me to smoke a little weed. Fez wants me to take my Percocets. Fez wants me to go to Asbury Park and grab an 8-ball, and Ron goes, get to. Like, he's letting you do the rant. He's letting you work a little bit. And then he goes, Dave, you're doing that thing that I hate, where everybody's like, I'm going to hurt myself to get your guys' attention. He's like, don't do that. Take as much time as you need. I'll give you a call tonight. And he gets you off the phone. Just because he's like, I don't want Dave to further inflame this situation at all, which I get. Right now, we do hear later in the audio, apparently you called back in later in the day being Mr. Cool Guy who was all on perks, but it had nothing to do with the argument. It didn't even address this at all. So
I remember this phone call. Like I said, it was hazy and blurry. I don't remember calling back in again. That's crazy.
I guess Chris Pepper had you call. So that call ends. Dr. Steve's still there, and we find out Dr. Steve reached out to Ron with an idea, and Ron responded right away and was super positive, and then Dr. Steve did not reply back. Was this the origins of weird medicine?
That's an interesting thought, and I would say, yeah.
It would make sense, right?
Because weird medicine wasn't on yet, right?
Mm-mm.
So look at that, doctor. Look at how, and I mean, I'm not shitting on Dr. Steve, but I mean, I'm such a fucking creative dynamo that I actually start shows that I've got nothing to do with.
And
because you're right, weird medicine started after this. So I can link it to the fucking weird medicine pericarditis. Boom.
100%. And the beauty of it is Ron yells at Dr. Steve. He's like, why didn't you respond? And Dr. Steve's like, well, it hasn't been forever. It's been a few days. And Ron goes, Dr. Steve, you got to understand this about me. I'm a 5-minute reply guy. Pepper knows it. The bosses know it. I send something to you, you respond right away. And Dr. Steve goes, oh, I kind of panicked. And Ron goes, I didn't want you to take whatever I said the wrong way. I don't want you to panic. Dr. Steve goes, no, like I've had this anxiety. Like I used to have a panic syndrome. I've gotten better with it, but I still, if it's me in the spotlight, I'm worried about freezing up. And Ron gives probably the most beautiful, nonchalant piece of advice I've ever heard. And it's all you got to do is fail as much as I have. And Dr. Steve gets it right away and goes, oh, because then you just assume this is going to be another failure and any success is a success. And I think that's beautiful. Like if you try a bunch of things, even if they don't work out, they're all going to lead to the confidence when whatever you're meant to do shows up.
There it is. Dr. Steve, man. There you go. Dr. Steve, weird medicine origin story. More than likely began with me. In fact, now that I think about it, Dr. Steve, you owe me 50% of every dime, everything you've made from weird medicine. I want my cut.
Maybe he'll do that. And what's hilarious to me is, with maybe the exception of the Bennington show, of all the people in the universe, Dr. Steve contiguously has done his show the longest with no breaks. Like, Opie and Anthony fell apart shortly thereafter. Fez moved on and it became the Bennington show shortly thereafter. Anthony's thing's done now, and who's still gone? Good old moist fluid.
You're here with the doctor, Dr. Steve, weird medicine. Ronnie B, thank you for the wonderful advice. And Davey Mack, don't worry. I'm sending you some low-grade heroin.
North Carolina blue heroin, blue tar heroin.
You'll be sent in an unmarked cardboard box. Be there by Thursday. Also, I sent a couple of weird medicine tchotchkes, like a coffee mug that has my face on it. Be on the lookout, Davey, for the mug and the smack. I love Dr. Steve. He's the best. And I have him in my phone, too. If I ever need Dr. Steve, boom, he's right there. I haven't needed him in quite some time. I'm very healthy these days. Knock on wood.
Dr.
Look at the
Steve.
muscles, Bobby.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Daddy. Davey Max Sports Program getting jacked.
Well, I've upped my weightlifting. You know that I lift weights, but I've upped it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so I know. Yeah. So these days, what I do is I take eat one of those energy bars, and again, I'm not a guy who's meant for like caffeine or any of that fucking pill. An energy bar might as well be me doing 10 lines of cocaine. If I have one of those energy bars, it's like fucking steroids. I just fucking pump iron for like 2 hours straight.
Yeah, dude, I love that feeling. You're looking like fucking best. Ivan Drago right now. If he was from Ireland.
And what I do is, and then to relax the muscles, I go into the pool.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Today it's 91 degrees in New Jersey. As soon as we're done with this, Daddy, I'm going right to the pool.
I may too. I may come down and visit. Who knows?
Well, I'm here.
It's fun how you got new money for new weights, but not to go to Six Flags like the people have been demanding.
I didn't say new weights. I said I changed my program.
I'm just trying to get the audience to tweet you that we should go to Six Flags. That's all I was trying to do with that line.
Okay, no, I'm going to tell. I'm going to tell them your idea because I said we are not going to be doing this.
Okay.
Robert wanted to do a Davey.
Yeah.
Robert wants to do a Davey Max Tales from the Satellite from Six Flags Great Adventure, right? Only 25 minutes from my house in Jackson, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. Second biggest amusement park in America, by the way, after Disney World in terms of space. But I said to Robert, what does this have to do with satellite radio? I mean,
we break down the story where you gave blood and went to Six Flags.
Right. That story probably would be 10 to 15 minutes long at most.
It's going to be a lot of us at Six Flags.
It seems like you just want to go to a great adventure. I can't possibly imagine this show being good, that episode being good in any way, shape, or form. I really feel like I'm saving the Tales from the Satellite audience.
You know what? We'll let them decide.
How about this? On this episode, on Patreon or on YouTube, in the comments, let us know if you want to see a Davey Mack and Robert go to Six Flags Great Adventure. I don't think it has anything to do with satellite radio. And I literally can't envision the episode being good in any way, shape, or form. But you know what? Who knows? So let us know if you'd like to see that. And if you overwhelmingly say yes, then maybe. But if I see no comments, I'm taking that also as a no.
You're going to see a lot of comments from the YouTube channels I run. But one quick anecdote about Dr. Steve before we take our second break. I was in college when I discovered this whole universe. I've told the story a bunch of times. My roommate introduced me, and I was taking a class on testing, like how you're supposed to write a good test, what makes a good question versus a bad question, how you run a good sample. And at this time, Dr. Steve's whole thing was attacking Eastern medicine for their lack of studies. So I did not study at all, went in to take this test, and just wrote Dr. Steve-like responses to all the questions and got 100%. The guy was like, you understand this way better. And it was just because Dr. Steve literally taught all that stuff about how
What?
Yeah, 100%.
So you just, you aced a college exam by simply writing Dr. Steve weird medicine talking points.
1,000,000%. I just would look at it and analyze the question and be like, how would Dr. Steve break this apart? Oh, he would say this, this, and this. He's a brilliant man. He's helped me. I was going to get a major surgery, and he was like, hey, dummy, if you just lose like 20 pounds, it won't be a problem.
Oh, there you go.
And save me like major financial and all that stuff. So
absolutely. He's the best. He's the best. We all love him.
We all love him. We all love you, audience. And we'll be right back with the post-call controversy after this.
All right. Fez, stay on this. Dave? Hey, Dave?
Yes, Ronnie?
I just want you to get some rest, go to sleep. Don't worry about yelling at Fez or what he said to him. Put all that out of your mind. When you come back, we'll talk about it. All right?
I'll be here. I'll be in tomorrow. I'm going to fucking perk it up.
Don't want you to be in tomorrow. I want you to relax. I want you to relax.
Vodka. I'm gonna get. Fez wants me to drink vodka, so I'm gonna drink vodka. I'm gonna smoke pot. I'm gonna fucking go onto the fucking corner in Asbury Park and get an 8-ball.
Well, that
I'm gonna get a hooker.
Get 2. Dave, just relax. Pepper's gonna check in with you after the show.
Go to KB Toy Store.
Right.
I'm gonna get a bit of toys for myself.
I hate when everybody acts like they're gonna hurt themselves to hurt others. Just stop it. I just want you to start relaxing. I'll talk to you later. Bye. And then I'm going to talk to him later about calling you a fucking cocksucker. But at the same time, he is on downs. He is in pain. It's like a fucking constant around here anymore. Here's Peter. You're my Fez.
Hey, Fez, why is it that if someone else gets sick and it's not about you anymore being sick or having heart problems, you got to lash out and attack Dave and act like he's faking it?
You're the one making it about me. You're making it about me.
No, Fez. It seems like if the person with the heart problems isn't you, and it's not all about you, you get angry and accuse Dave of being fake.
I'm just wondering what's happening. What's he up to? What's going on? Why aren't these tests getting done sooner if this is so serious? I'd like to know what's going on.
You're like, I know all about heart problems, and believe me, it doesn't go on and on and on. They should know by now, blah, blah, blah. I know.
All right, let me put it this way. Fez, you're the #1 heart attack king, all right?
Thank you.
You're going to stay the heart attack king. And then Dave is I guess it's pterodactyl. Is that what he has, pterodactyl in his chest?
Pterodactyl, yeah.
All right, he's got a pterodactyl somewhere in his chest. I think it's from eating Flintstone vitamins.
They're good, though.
Russ, New Mexico, you're on Fez.
Hi, Ron. I know Fezzy's not doing well, Dave's not doing well, but you sound like $1 million, really.
Well, thank you, my friend.
Sure thing. I can kind of see Fez's point because pericarditis could be caused by a viral, bacterial, or fungal infection, which means that Dave's problems are pretty much self-induced. When you eat shit, that kind of thing happens. So I think that Fez's pain and life is much more important because he's been taking such good care of himself.
They already said they don't know where these things come from. Bill, Florida, you're on Fez.
Hey, Ronnie. I just feel, when he was crying on St. Paddy's Day and he was being picked on, I felt bad for Fez then. But now, how about, poor Dave? He's in the hospital. He's got a sick child. He's getting checked out for his condition. And, he has a sick child. And, how about a little compassion for him and his family? I'm sure.
I have asked him all about this whenever I could. I'm hoping for the best. I hope he's here Saturday.
Where's the humor, Fez? What happened to the humor? There would be a time that you would have a lot of fun teasing your buddy, and he would go, I know you're teasing, pal. But now it sounds like you mean it. You sound like he's faking his heart condition, or he's having a heart condition because you had a heart condition.
Well, I understand he's got something.
I brought up the Fezatorial. In the old days, you would say crazy things about things, but we'd all go, Fez is joking. Fez is having fun. He's teasing. He obviously doesn't feel this. These days, you never sound like you're joking. You're always angry. Tom, Tennessee, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, Ron. Me and some buddies down here in Tennessee, we're really upset about Dave, and we're going to put together a heart walk for Dave this weekend. Maybe you and Fez might join us, raise a little money.
Well, first of all, the only reason why you and your buddies are walking is because you have fucking, you've been busted for drunk driving. You got fucking DUIs, and now you have to walk. So don't try to act like that's for Dave. Second of all, I hope you raise a lot of money for him. That'd be great. Here's Eric in Dallas. You're on Fez.
Hey, guys. I'm sick of Dave getting mad at Fezzy like that and just coming off the hinges. Dave can take it, or he can give it, but he can't take it. How about every time in studio, Fez has a little episode, and Dave sits there and he cackles in the background. He has his giggles, and he sits there and needles at Fez. How about the whole Fast Freddy the intern deal? When Fez was drinking a little bit that day. He can give it, but he can't take it.
No, first of all, nobody on this show can take it. That's the whole fucking point. People that can take it aren't even fucking involved. I don't even have fucking respect for people who can take it. I thought maybe it was getting a little too fucking out of hand when the screaming started and the guy's sick, but, Jason, Virginia Beach.
Hey, what's up, boys?
Yeah.
Last year I had a heart attack, and about a month or so ago I was playing football because I tried to get my activity back up, and I broke my nose. But the pain from the broken nose was a hell of a lot more than a heart attack because it lingered for days.
I had no idea. A heart attack is not that big a deal.
Yeah, so to compare pain with other people, it's unfair because, if you stab yourself through the arm, it's going to hurt worse than a heart attack. It's just unfair to compare pain. I mean, obviously Dave is in a lot of pain, so for Fez to compare his pain, it's just unfair.
A heart attack is deadly, is what I'm telling you, and I've had 2 of them. 2! A stent for each one.
What does that have to do with Dave's sickness? What does one have to do for the other?
He's trying to say that a broken nose is worse than a heart attack.
No, I mean from the beginning. Dave has this medical problem.
Mm-hmm.
You're not having a medical problem. Why are we talking about your heart attacks now?
Because it was brought up because I've had heart conditions that I can, if Dave's having heart trouble, I've been through these tests that he's taken.
Oh, so you're saying you're here to give comfort and aid and education to him.
Well,
That's what happened today.
Well, I don't know why he got so upset. He's the one who started calling people cocksucker.
What did he call him?
Cocksucker.
Steve, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Yeah, hey, Ron.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out that Fez is treating Dave like an ex-lover.
The weird thing is this. You would expect Dave to say, I have these problems, and Fez to sympathize and say, here's some of the things you could do, or this has helped me in the past, or you need to, rest. Don't even listen to whatever it happens to be. He didn't do any of that. You immediately went on it and said that your stuff was worse. And then Fezzy you said that you didn't miss any time. And when you had your heart attack, I think you were out 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, I missed time with the heart attack, yeah. But I mean, he was trying to compare me with him. And how much time has he missed?
Well, this is his 3rd day, and he's still having the test done. And then you just heard from Dr. Steve saying this stuff takes a little time.
It's been snow days, it's been everything, so it can't keep getting pointed back to me about taking so many days off. It's constant with Dave. That's not a bad thing. It's not an insult, it's just fact now.
Benny, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Ron, how you doing?
Yeah.
Hey, Fez, let me just start out by saying I hate Dave. I can't stand him. When I listen to him, it makes me cringe. I love you. I'm always a Fez defender. Give the guy a break. I had this, and I'm 32 now. I had it when I was 27, so 5 years ago. What it feels like is someone's taking a knife, sticking it into your heart, and keep on twisting and twisting and twisting.
Oh, my
God. It's horrendous.
That's
Fez.
so much worse than Fez's.
No, it wasn't.
Well, I've never had a heart attack. My father had one a year later than I had pericarditis, and he said he didn't go through that. I mean, and imagine being as young as Dave and thinking you're having a heart attack and you're about to die. Fez, you're not an old man, but you're an older man. You're older than Dave. Give the guy a break. It's not all about you, man.
It really doesn't have anything to do with any of us.
No, but people keep trying to tell me my pain wasn't anything. They have no idea what I went through. For 10 days I walked around, came to the show with it, until I finally went to the doctor and was told I was having a heart attack.
So your heart attack lasted 10 days?
Yeah, from when I started feeling the pain to when I got something done about it.
So what part was the actual heart attack?
I think it was probably the night before I actually went to the hospital.
So if you would have went immediately when everybody started saying go to the doctor, you would have prevented your heart attack.
Yeah, some people were saying that might have just been a warning sign, not the actual heart attack.
Jay, Ohio, you're on Ron and Fez.
Fez, why does everything have to be about you? You can't let
including this phone call, Jay. That's weird.
No, stop.
Weird.
You can't let have anyone else have any other pain. Everything has to revolve around you. The moment something goes off of Fez, it turns into someone's attacking Fez or someone's trying to do something behind Fez's back. You need to have some kind of sympathy. I understand what the boy's going through, and I've had a heart attack too, and so has my father, and I know what that feels like too. So it's not the same thing. Dr. Steve said it. Ronnie there saying it. Get over it.
Well, actually, I don't know. But normally if a person says, oh, I'm having this pain, I'm at the doctor's, blah, 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 I don't think that they're sandbagging. And then you got into that repeating he'll be here Saturday night.
Yeah, because it was just what I thought.
But did you mean it in a comedic way? Or are you angry about this stuff?
I'm not angry about it.
Joey in Brooklyn, you're on Ron and Fez.
How you doing? I'm a long-time listener, and I got to say, honestly, Fezzy pisses me off so fucking bad, I don't even want to listen anymore. I mean, I tune into the show because life's a fucking depressing ball of shit. You guys make me laugh my ass off. Then it turns into a fucking, a shrink session. I mean, what the fuck? The guy's in a hospital. You getting strong with him?
He's not in the hospital. He's at home.
Did he go to the hospital today?
He went to the hospital to go get tests done. He doesn't have a doctor's office
So
to
the
go
only
to.
people that are sick are in the hospital. The people that are being outpatient treated for cancer, they're not sick.
No, they're sick.
All right. That's what we're talking about. He's at the hospital, not just at this moment.
Right, but I mean, with me, they weren't letting me come back the next day.
No one's talking about you from the beginning. This didn't have anything more to do. This had nothing to do with you. It's about Dave being sick.
It's the only heart example I have.
Seriously, out of the whole planet. You don't have Bill Clinton. We don't have to fucking run down how many people have had this. And he didn't have a heart attack. He has this other thing.
And he was kept overnight.
Who's he?
Bill Clinton.
That's not what I'm talking about. We're talking about Dave. Dave did not have a heart attack. He had something completely different. If he got hit by a car, if a truck run over his fucking leg, you don't compare that to a heart attack, right?
Right.
Same thing here. Dr. Steve called us and said the guy is in terrible pain, and it's worse pain that you have when you're having a heart attack. And then Dr. Steve thought to himself, Ron gave me an idea. Why not panic over it? That surprises me. Hicks, the people with their panic anymore.
I don't get it, man.
Did you see Reservoir Dogs?
Yeah.
If you got the pot and the cops are in the same fucking bathroom, you gotta do one thing. You shit your pants and you keep on moving. Yes, we all feel fear of these things. Then move through it. He felt bad that he emailed me with the idea in the first place. Um, 866 Ron Zero Fez, 866 Ron Zero Fez. Steve, California, you're on Ron and Fez.
You know, I called about one thing, but this is something else. Fez just said that he walked around for 10 days having a heart attack. Now, I don't see Davey Mack out there walking around for 10 days, Fez. So this thing's got to be a little bit more of a hurt than a 10-day heart attack. But the reason that I called was that if we can restore Stevie Baldwin, we can restore Davey Mack. I say we need to put together RestoreDaveyMack.org.
From what I understand, since I called for the Restore Stevie Baldwin, that 202 listeners have raised over $8. Thank you. We thought it was 18, but fucking Earl never sent his 10.
What? He said he would.
Mm.
We got to put together a nice little video package for Dave then.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Ron Bennington. It does seem like as soon as Dave said he believed in God, his heart started hurting.
People are saying God shit all over Dave McDonald.
Nick, Philly, you're in Ron and Fez.
Hey, Fez, I have a question, man. What hurts worse, a heart attack or a big dick in the ass?
You don't have to answer that, Fez. Here's the deal. Dave is crazy as batshit, right?
Sure.
How come when you fight with him, he seems like he's sane?
He seems sane today? Screaming at me and calling me a cocksucker?
No, he seemed sick. He was a sick person. You know, like you don't start giving people shit in the hospital?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it felt like you were doing. Like you were... Now, I stuck up for you yesterday with Franklin. I thought Franklin got fucking too harsh too fast. And I actually slowed Dave down when he started to get personal. I noticed he's done that the last couple of times.
Right, that's the card he goes to.
He's got to stop that, Hicks.
I'll talk to him after the show today.
He ain't going to remember anything. He's perked.
You could share the wealth.
Yeah, I know, but I guess the pain is so bad he doesn't want to fucking crush him up.
He said he was out already.
I always used to say that, too. I go, Matt, get me more. They're out when you're fucking doubling and tripling down on them, that's for sure. John, you're in Ron and Fez.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Yeah. What do you got?
Why doesn't Fez just come right out and say how he feels about Dave? I mean, he just fuck you, I don't care about you, I don't like you. I mean, it just seems like all bullshit. Just
I love Dave. I care a lot about Dave. I don't think he wants to be friends with me.
And we are back. But you're not on the phone anymore. You have hung up. Dr. Steve's hung up. And it's just Ron and Fez to sit in the awkwardness.
Uh-oh.
Right?
I have hung up, and as has the good doctor, huh?
As has the good doctor. Ron kind of got into him a little bit. We were talking about this a little bit with the weird medicine, but basically it was like, you just got to do it. Email me, Dr. Steve, and keeps kind of mocking him a little bit after the air, but in a way to do so where it's like, Dr. Steve, get this done. Like the harassment will stop if you just do what you said. It's a good idea. I've gotten the ball rolling for you. You know what I mean? Like almost like a friend who bullies you into asking out the hot chick because he knows you have a shot. So that happens. The callers call in. Half of them are pointing out how severe pericarditis is. Like, I had a friend who died. It's like leather, all this stuff.
I don't know why I'm laughing. I shouldn't have laughed at that. That's terrible.
But again,
I mean, it's a really serious fucking issue.
But at the same time, Fez has gotten the callers to call it and participate in the show. So he's doing his job. He's
doing a great job.
And
I'm just saying that, in case anyone thinks it was just a little fucking nonsensical thing. It's A, I really had it, and B, it really is serious.
And we talked about this earlier, but the number of calls prefaced with, not a big Dave guy, but... And it's amazing.
You have to say it like that. I fucking hate Dave just as much as the next guy, Ronnie, mate. I mean, but I gotta tell you, this perio. Hey, Rod, Vinny from Brooklyn. Yeah, Dave absolutely fucking sucks. But this call, hey, Ronnie. Yeah, Brian from the Bronx. I gotta tell you something, Ronnie, mate. Dave is a piece of shit. But I tell you this, call. Hey, Ron, it's Jerry from Alabama. Yeah, Dave is a fucking, shit-eating fucking piece of garbage, but I gotta tell you, this pericarditis is a real problem. Yeah.
Black
I know.
people
Thank
are
you
so
all
scared.
for having to preface that.
But this isn't the first time. Literally, like, the past 4 stories we've done have been like, hey, I don't like Dave, but it's crazy how he went through with that whack bag tattoo. You know what I mean? Like, the number of times you're so good.
Hey, assholes! Maybe you should like me.
Yeah.
Because maybe I deliver fucking great entertaining radio or podcasting or video or etc. If it's entertainment, I bring the fucking noise every time. Maybe you could appreciate that. No, that's fine. That's
don't do that.
He's a fucking asshole. Don't worry.
It
He
is-
doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't understand that he's throwing himself under the bus time and time again for the audience, for entertainment's sake.
1,000,000%. It
And
reminds
most
me
of the time, that's why the people didn't like me, is because I tell some story where, what do you think, I'm a fucking idiot? Where I knew I was throwing myself under the bus. Yes.
Absolutely. One of my favorite metaphors here is, have you ever seen...
But that's why those motherfuckers like Steve Blatter and Rob Cross never understood like what I fucking contributed. Like, if I can just really go back and like just pull back the curtain a little bit at Sirius XM for a second, it's that Steve Blatter and Rob Cross who somehow were two music guys, full-on music guys who got put in charge of the Opie and Anthony channel. How that makes sense. And they were always perplexed. They were always like, what does Dave even do? And then when I, God forbid, had the audacity to ask for a raise to go up from $37,000 a year, it was, well, yeah, I mean, he's kind of crazy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Not understanding that maybe some of this is also performing so that we're doing entertaining shit for an audience of people. Did you ever think of that? Maybe that some of the quote unquote craziness is, maybe it's a guy performing for you.
It's very much like do you remember Kobe's last commercial where it's him, he hits a game-winning shot over a Boston player and all the fans are booing, going, Kobe, you suck, Kobe, you suck. And he goes, stop. And he points to a guy and they start individually singing, I've been hating you too long to stop now, like anymore. And then Phil Jackson's playing the piano where it's like, you hated this guy. And I was that way. I rooted against Kobe until it was him versus the original Big Three. But
right.
Then when he's gone, you go, oh, I get it.
Yeah,
he was the guy we needed. He was the heel. He was the best. And that's what I think you were in radio for a lot of these people. They liked having someone to root against on the air. So then when they see you doing these superhuman things, it's hard to be like, I still hate Dave. But so they have to get the part out where it's like, I don't like him, but this is pretty sick. You know what I mean? So I think it's almost a compliment to how good you were. The only time...
It's fine. I'm just saying that, again, yeah. And oftentimes I would go for a heelish thing. And so if the person hates me, I'm not going to get mad, because if you go for a heelish vibe at times,
that's what you want.
Then yeah, you've done your job. What I'm saying is now, 20 years or whatever the fuck we are, 16 years removed, maybe Steve Blatter and Rob Cross, two people in the business, could have sat down, listened to the Ron and Fez show and said, oh, I see, that's what this guy provides. But they didn't fucking get it, because there are a couple of guys from FM radio who put their heads actually up each other's asses a lot.
Now, I've never gotten to meet either of those two. I've only met one program director in my day, and his head was pretty far up his ass, but he certainly didn't watch any of the shows on his network. He had no idea what was there or what was going on. So maybe that's just
if
you
work for a radio station or any kind of entertainment station, and the program director and or general manager is so lazy that they don't listen or watch the content of what's on their channel, then that person is a fucking inept, lazy scumbag, because they're fucking with artists and fucking entertainers who bring fucking passion and creativity to your dumb little station. The least you could do is pay attention to what's going on. But Cross and Blatter never fucking listened to the Ron and Fez show, because I could talk to Steve Blatter about shit that happened and he would have no clue. Maybe Cross was slightly more attentive, slightly more. But plenty of times Rob Cross would visit the Ron and Fez show, and Ron might be like, hey, did you hear that? He's like, oh, yeah, I haven't had a chance to listen today. What? You're literally responsible for just 2 fucking live shows.
Maybe
your job is done by fucking 3.
Well,
you can't sit there and listen and figure out what the hell's going on, because if you were attentive, you would have known that I brought a lot to the table. But whatever.
maybe, Dave, Rob was doing important things like playing a pirate ship video game.
Rob Cross was doing important things like having his head tilt left to right because he is legally blind, and I'm not trying to be a dick. He does do the Stevie Wonder thing when he talks. Like, Stevie, like when Rob Cross talks to you, because again, he has eyeballs and he doesn't wear sunglasses. It's not like he's blind like Stevie, but you can tell there's nothing going on. Both eyes look like they're always looking to the top right corner. And yeah, you could just say, and he'll do the good show today, Ron and Fez. Great show today. And you're like, look at this. Look at it. It's white Stevie Wonder.
And he also sexually assaults women when he meets them.
What? Let's not put that out there.
You heard it here first. Stevie
That was
Wonder.
a Bobby Tamburo joke. And a poorly executed one.
Very poorly. But it's amazing how those guys who have no
Let's
idea.
not accuse anyone who could sue us of crimes. Thanks. Again, that was a poorly executed Bobby Tamburo joke who thought he was going to be funny. But I like to not accuse people of crimes because there's a thing called a lawsuit, Robert. Thanks.
Yeah, that's what you have to wear to court, right? Another bad Rob joke. See, I'm
I've
not
never
good at these
seen
guys.
Rob
Don't sue
Croft
us.
do anything illegal of that context. I've just seen him act like a blind fool.
My favorite part, though, is when these guys who act like a blind fool and don't listen to their own shows talk to the people who are in the trenches, and you go, this is exactly what's going on. This is what's about to happen. And then it plays out to a T. But
yeah, I mean,
this isn't about the PDs. This is about you versus Fezzy. Just kidding. So they start kind of talking. Ron points out, hey, Fez, you're being really hard on a guy who's very, very sick. You know, Dave gives it his all. And Fez is like, yeah, but he didn't have to. And Ron's like, don't worry. I'll give him a call about him calling you a cocksucker later. But at the same time, he's pretty downed out, Fez. And Fez goes, well, I was pretty fucked up when I had my heart attack. I wasn't running around calling people a cocksucker. And just continues to lean into the heel, which is just so beautiful. A couple of the callers call in and they're like, Fez, this is the most I've heard you talk. And it just keeps riling him up a little more. But the one time he really breaks the heel is the guy calls in and goes, isn't this like a viral infection? Can't you get that from eating your own shit? And both Ron and Fez jump on him right away and go, no, nobody knows how he got this. It's not from that. Shut the fuck up. Like, shut it down right away, which was kind of fun to see. Even at the worst of the worst, when Fez was healing it the most, he still had your back. And a caller calls in and goes, why don't you say what you really feel, Fez? That you hate Dave. And Fez goes on a minute-long rant where he's like, I love Dave. I don't hate Dave at all. And, like, I truly think he had your back, even though...
Yeah, he was more than likely working. And that's why. I'm not mad. I don't get mad at Ron or Fez ever. And that includes now. Fez was working. If I have any a little issue, it would be with Earl. It would be with the producer who should have said, if Fez is gonna fuck around a little bit, do a little shit, blah blah blah. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But there's this weird thing that Earl and Chris Pepper Stanley have where they always feel like they can't trust me. And I don't know where that comes from. I think it's because I'm dynamic and opinionated and loud, so they feel like somehow I'm going to spill the beans. Why don't you go ask Ron how many times I spilled the beans when we had worked bits and sketches, like the Fez pizza face, etc. Like, the fuck? I don't tell shit.
I think, honestly, Dave, it's the character you play on air a little bit where you're crazy.
Well, shame on them for not knowing that I'm a goddamn human being who can be trusted because I am a performer.
Too good. I think that's the problem. You're too good at performing. But so the call kind of starts to wrap up. Hicks says he'll give you a call later because Fez points out that this is the second time or the third time in a row that you guys have gotten into an on-air thing and it got personal, where you were attacking him personally for something. And Hicks goes, I'll give him a call about that. Ron goes, don't give him a call about it. He's so perked up. He doesn't know what the fuck you're saying. He won't remember that call.
I didn't. I was legitimately intoxicated with drugs, which is actually really scary. Like, booze intoxication is one. But it's like,
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of I took a couple pills and I have foggy blackout moments. Like, what the fuck? This shit is prescribed by the doctor. Why am I blacking out?
Yeah, the doctor's not going to prescribe you Guinness. But
maybe they should have. I would have been way more jovial. I swear to God, I would have been having jokes with Fez. I probably would have had a totally different angle.
I've never seen an angry drunk Dave. I've only seen happy drunk Dave.
I don't get angry.
No, that's
with a couple Guinness. It's only the pills. That's why I don't do pills anymore.
Well, thank God for that. But Hicks goes, the least he could do is share. And Fez goes, he says he's out. Ron goes, yeah, I was always out too. That was my excuse. Just meaning that you were definitely still had Percocets and were taking them.
I may have had a couple, but I was running low. The pain was unbelievable.
Things are kind of getting a little more intense as the show is wrapping with the calls and stuff, and Fez getting more defensive about his heart attacks. He has 2 stents. He was sick for 10 days, all that stuff. And Ron says something that kind of cut me, and I'm not even Fez, where he goes, yeah, but remember, Fez, are you saying this stuff to be funny or to be mean? I remember the old Fezatorials where they were super catty, but they were so funny people knew what was going on. Now it feels like you're just being mean without the humor, which again is playing into the heel thing a little bit, but also I've been there. The audience may not know this. I'm a stand-up comedian. There have been holidays where I screamed at my family, if you just assume I'm being funny, not mean, everything will go better. Because you think you're being funny. You don't know how to get that old, oh, this was funny and kind of mean, kind of catty back. And you just get into this weird funk. Has that ever happened to you? I know you do this enough where have people ever been like, you need to turn off the radio thing, Dave? I feel like that, and you feel like you can't get out of that mindset. And I don't know if that's what's going on.
People
100%.
who don't know me know that sometimes I can also be intense off the air, or just a lot of fun, or we can be loud and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And earlier when I was younger, I would always get, he's always on. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just me. Just relax. I'm just me. I'm not always on. I don't know what that even fucking means. Does it mean that I have energy? There is an issue, I think, in modern day society where if you have energy and you're passionate and you're fired up, people get genuinely freaked out by that. And they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. I need you to be way more boring and monotone, bro.
Take it a step further. One of the things I've learned most with working with you is that you're allowed to be happy. It seems like in today's day and age, if you come in and you're trying to be fun, jovial, not super serious, people get mad at you. And you know what I mean? In all seriousness, if you're not like, oh, everything's falling apart, everything's shitty, people are like, oh, shut up. And, you're here to have a good time.
I'm here to I'm just here to let it fly.
Yeah.
Things that, look, this is what I like to say. Celebrate the heroes, mock the assholes. And that's sports, Star Wars, wrestling, radio, etc. It's not a big deal. And you don't do it out of any kind of hate or bigotry. It's just, and maybe I'm naive to think that because I'm not, I've got no bigoted bones in my body, I can make fun of people of all groups. Because I've noticed that in right now, 2024 society, sometimes, if you make fun of someone who is not in your group, people immediately chalk it up to, well, that guy must be a bigot. And you're like, what?
No.
What are you fucking talking about? So am I only allowed to make fun of fucking Irish redheaded people?
No, that would be
well, but that feels like where society is going.
No, I agree. I'm saying that's terrible.
I dared criticize The Acolyte, which is a new Star Wars show, because it sucks. But I give very specific reasons for its suckage. The acting, and I give specific examples of bad acting. The writing, examples of bad writing, so on and so forth. And yet, I'll get a few people, oh, look at the white guy. He doesn't like Acolyte because people of color in it. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Lando Calrissian's one of my favorite, you cunt. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, that's tangential, but that's just the way I see society. Is someone like me has not changed, but it's interesting how society has, and the oversensitivity is now becoming a problem because people are so fucking into themselves and their own narcissism and their sensitivity that the second someone says something that they don't agree with, it's, oh, well, you must be a bigot of some kind. Shut up with that.
It's just nuts.
But it's the truth.
Oh,
Shut
yeah,
up
absolutely.
with that.
Even it's so funny to go back and listen to the old Ron and Fez, like the WJFK days. You just be like, nope, that would get you canceled now. That would get you canceled now. And it was a gay guy doing the jokes. It was a gay guy at the center of all of it. Yeah.
And I've never been someone to rail against cancel culture, right? You ever hear me bring up the phrase cancel culture? I don't even bring it up. But it's just something that I've experienced recently where if I will mock plenty of white people.
Mm-hmm.
But the second I'm, I guess, so naive to say, hey, R. Kelly's a fucking scumbag. It's, oh, you racist? I'm like, what?
No. I hate
well,
you
the
all
white
equally.
guy makes fun of the black guy. Okay, I guess. All right. I thought we were allowed to do that. I thought we can do shit like that. I guess.
No, Dave. You didn't understand it.
I'm allowed to make fun of David Caruso, Mark McGuire.
Okay. I mean,
the fucking little gay guy from Modern Family. Like, basically, I can only make fun of redheaded men.
The Coppertone kid?
No, not a man.
Oh.
I can only make fun of redheaded men. No, because if I do that, that's sexism. So don't forget that.
I forgot about sexism.
Yeah.
My favorite ism.
Yeah.
Now, no, I'm surprised you don't understand how equality works, Dave. Equality is you can only treat people who look exactly like you in a bad way. Anyone else is of a special class. They're different, so you have to treat them differently.
Saying. It's like, so I can make fun of that. That's it. That's all I got. I can make fun of the guy on Homeland. He's redheaded. The Band of Brothers dude. So that's it. That's who I'm allowed to do shows about going forward, is only redheaded men.
Well,
otherwise, it must be coming from a place of hate.
I look forward to our Spencer Hawes episode.
Let me just drive a truck through that. If I have a new nickname for you, it's the heart patient.
Thank you. But I'm coming out of this strong as an ox. Babe Blue Ox. That's my new thing.
We're going to start calling you Babe the Blue Ox?
Yeah, that's my hero.
If you're blue, there's going to be some sort of circulation problem.
Oh.
Don't go with that analogy.
You cocksucker! Fuck you! Fuck you, cocksucker! Do we have that tape?
This microphone is bolted in here, otherwise I'd throw it.
I want to fucking hear how this went the other day. I can't believe we didn't play this all day.
I'll be ready tomorrow, Fez, because God knows I've fucking helped you out, never fucking doubted you for 1 second in these thousands of shows you've taken off.
Oh!
But you know what?
Who's got the better track record here now?
I'll fucking do. And why do you think I'm in so much fucking pain?
Dave, Dave,
you fucking cocksucker.
All right, that's the downstalking, I'm sure. That's the downstalking, I'm sure.
I don't remember that.
You don't?
No, I mean, I remember the whole thing.
Here's what kills me. Out of all the things that offend Fez, that one he just shut up for. And has never gotten offended about it. And for all the people that bashed Fez for pushing Dave that far, once Dave fucking smacked him on the nose, you never heard another word out of Fez.
That wasn't my intent.
All right, let's listen to it again. Because it's really funny because you were already really mean to him before we got there.
Yeah, no, I was definitely fucked up and angry.
I'll be ready tomorrow, Fez, because God knows I've fucking helped you out, never fucking doubted you for 1 second in these thousands of shows you've taken off.
Oh!
But you know what?
Who's got the better track record here now?
I'll fucking do. And why do you think I'm in so much fucking pain?
Dave, Dave,
you fucking cocksucker.
All right, that's the downstalking, I'm sure. That's the Downs talking, I'm sure. It was really funny because you could hear my voice. I knew where it was going. I'm like, Dave, let's stop this. And then right as soon as it happened, it was almost like, okay, that's not even a mess. Let's just start sopping this up off the floor. Watley never said a word. Then that night, Dave calls me at my house. Hey, Mr. B, not feeling so well. And I'm like, all right, buddy, well, if, don't come in tomorrow if you're not feeling okay. So I know that he's nervous to ask, but I'm not going to help him at all. And he goes like this. That thing was Fez. Was that like a bit we were doing? Like he didn't know how I took it. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. You'll have to tell me. Well, for me, it was kind of like a bit, he's saying. Because,
I don't know what was going on. That was crazy. I broke my goddamn wife's phone. I have to go to Verizon immediately after the show to get her a fucking new phone because it's splintered into a million pieces on my wall. And then after the show, I called up Pepper because, believe it or not, I do not remember calling in or you guys calling me. I was on the show a second time that day. I thought that ended the communication, so
No.
I fucking blacked out on Percocet.
You actually called back and tried to be fun, like, hey, what's up?
I don't remember.
Greg, you're just having fun.
I think that was when you were calling from the floor.
I don't remember anything. Yeah, I don't remember. So that was crazy. Oh, these health problems, huh? Medications.
Let's just play it one more time.
Please.
Let's just do one more.
I'll be ready tomorrow, Fez, because God knows I've fucking helped you out, never fucking doubted you for 1 second in these thousands of shows you've taken off.
Oh!
But you know what?
Who's got the better track record here now?
I'll fucking do. And why do you think I'm in so much fucking pain?
Dave,
Because of fucking
Dave.
you fucking cocksucker.
All right. That's the Downs talking, I'm sure. That's the Downs talking, I'm sure. Well, fucking funny.
Oh my God, I need a drink. Fuck it.
Your fucking thing, and that's twice now that you've gotten really pissed at Fez. There's something brewing so fucking just right under the surface, ready to explode at any second.
Yeah, there is. You're probably right about that. You're right. What do you
And
want
a
me to say?
Percocet is your start button.
And then after the show, he's talking with Fez that day, and he's like, why is it just me? Anyone else can say anything the way they want to say. And I go, and then the following day, I made Fez listen back to his old Fezatorials because I'm like, it's not like you didn't say awful things in those days, Fez. You did. You were just being amusing.
So anyway, you had gone home and you called Ron, right?
Yes.
You don't remember the call, do you?
Very hazy, very no. I think I remember calling, but I don't remember what was said. I guess. Again, that's the Percocet effect.
That is 100% the Percocet fog, where you're like, I think I should call this guy. I don't know what's going. I don't know if my guilt is real, if it's the pills. So you called
I knew
Ron.
I'd yelled at Fez, yelled and said naughty, bad boy things. And so
yeah, you called Ron.
I was like, oh shit.
Now, does seem like the routine at this point was you would call Ron and let him know if you were coming in the next day or not. Because he goes, I called Dave, and the first thing he says is, hey, boss, I'm not feeling real great. They've got me on all these painkillers. And Ron goes, yeah, man, take tomorrow off. Take as much time as you need. Because one of the things you kept yelling was that you were coming in the next day to prove Fez wrong. So I think A, you wanted to clear and be like, hey, I know I said that, but I'm not, just so you know. And then B, you were worried that Fez was pissed that you called him a cocksucker.
Yeah, I shouldn't have done that.
But Ron...
That was bad. I'm happy I didn't use the slur. I mean, I guess some people would say, but cocksucker to me is like a gangster term.
Oh, absolutely. I told you earlier, my favorite Mickey Mantle story where they were like, what's your best memory from Yankee Stadium when they were having the memorial? And his was one time I got a hamstring cramp in the 7th inning and got a blowjob underneath the stadium. And the woman looked up at me when she finished and was like, where do I spit this? And I went, I don't know. I'm not a cocksucker.
The fuck? Thank you for that Mickey Mantle story.
But it was about a woman.
That's true.
Yeah.
Regardless,
so not
I
a slur.
shouldn't have said it, but I was also out of my fucking mind.
Absolutely. I've heard my dad call a nail a cocksucker when it wouldn't go into a board. It's not. It's not a
use
slur.
that on
Yeah.
Mario Kart, but my point is, I shouldn't have done it.
Oh, I thought this was how cool it was.
No.
No.
Yeah, you're like fucking like not hearing me. I should not have fucking flipped out and said those things.
You were on drugs, and I think but still, even though you were on drugs, Ron's not going to let you off the hook. He's not going to open the conversation. So finally, you just go, "Hey, didn't we do that fun thing with Fez on air? Wasn't that a great bit?" And Ron goes, "I don't know. Was it a bit?" And you go, "I kind of took it like a fun bit. We were all joking around."
Oh my God. That is fucking great. And I tell you, while I don't have 100% recollection, I absolutely believe this is exactly how it went down.
Oh, me
Hey,
too.
wasn't that great, Ronnie B? That was a lot of fun. Did we make some good radio today?
I've been known to get moody in the day, and sometimes you'll call, and I've seen that same level of trepidation where you set the narrative and how you're saying things. You're like, "Hey, wasn't that fun what we did on air?" And you're checking in, but you kind of want to make it so I know your perspective. And then finally you go, "Did Fez think it was a fun bit?" And Ron goes, I don't know. I guess you'll have to ask him." And that's just a great hook. Even if you weren't on drugs, just messing with a guy like that is a great Ron and Fez classic bit of you don't know what's a work, you don't know what's not. One of my favorite stories, comedian Big J. I think you've worked with him a couple
Big
of
J.
times.
Okerson?
So when Fez was going through his no F slurs phase at the end of his career, Ron had brought in Big J because he used the F slur and was a good friend of Fez's to try to be like, "Hey man, look, he's a good guy. He doesn't mean it out of a place of hate. He uses it in his act. He's super edgy. He's super offensive. That's the name he's built." I think the name of his live crowd work show for a while was called The Depraved. He's being as edgy as he can. He's not meaning it offensively, and Fez did not go with it. He turned against Big J. And again, kind of like this situation, you could go, "Oh, this is Fez just playing the heel for air." Or
Well, he turned against Big J.
yeah, he turned on air and was like, "No, I don't care. You don't get to use that word. It's wrong." And wouldn't see what Ron was trying to point out. And you could go, "Oh, that's Fez leaning into he really means no F slurs." You could also go, "Oh, that's Fez being the heel for radio," because at the end he was, with maybe the exception of you, the greatest heel in radio. I mean, he made everything about him in a way that people wanted to discuss it, even though he didn't.
I don't think I have to completely disagree with that assessment. Fez Whatley, the heel. See, what you're not understanding is Fez Whatley was usually the baby face of the show for years and years and years and years, bro. We're talking from, I mean, probably from Ron and Ron going up to NEW, JFK.
Oh,
Fez
absolutely.
is a baby face.
I'm saying towards the end, like the last probably 5 years.
Well, I wasn't listening because I was I had other work at the time. But I can't imagine. So what you're saying is towards the. I hope this assessment is accurate.
So, I'm not trying to
I
be
don't think
negative
that
in
Fez
any way.
was ever a heel. I think
Maybe
that,
a Charlie Brown type where you want him to kick the
that's
football.
much different, Robert. Because the Charlie Brown type, you're going to have empathy for, right? So Charlie Brown is not a heel. He's a baby face with some issues.
I misspoke then. He was kind of like a Charlie Brown type character where it was like you want him to see the light of day, you're rooting for him, and then, all that.
I mean, because I only envision Fez as babyface. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
As a wrestling fan, that doesn't compute for me at all.
And I guess I thought heel was like more of an all-encompassing term other than just like a person you have to hate. It, like almost.
No, heel is pretty much that. You hate you hate that person, or they're going to say shit that pisses you off, or that you don't like, or you don't like them. And
then,
so
I don't
think
know.
people always loved Fez.
Yeah, they
and
always
maybe
did.
They wanted him to get healthy and strong and stuff.
That's kind of what I was getting at. More of like a Charlie Brown where you're rooting for him, but he never quite kicks that football.
Well, Charlie
Brown
Brown
that's the beauty of this show.
Is one of the ultimate baby faces. Would you not accept that of Peanuts?
I don't know the terms well enough, but if you say so, I'm going to say yes.
Would you say Charlie Brown is a good guy or a bad guy?
Good guy. So that's a baby face then.
That's a baby face.
Okay. What would you say? And not like loser, but like the lovable guy who never quite makes it. That's still a baby face.
Episode, Robert has gotten so controversial.
I'm not trying to be controversial. I'm trying to pay Fez a compliment.
Well,
That
okay,
even
wait,
when
say
he
it
was
again. What would I think of if someone is a loser?
no, not a loser, like a level, like the guy you're rooting for, but you know every episode's gonna end with him not kicking the football. Like Fez's whole thing at
I
the end
would
was
say that is I would call that person the hero, and I would say that they're the embattled hero, or
the embattled hero then.
yeah.
So he was playing that role more where he was getting it as close, So that's why you couldn't tell if it was a work or a shoot, that he was
Right.
actually mad at Jay is all I was.
Gotcha. No, I get.
Before I
So was he mad at Jay?
To this day, we don't know because Ron wouldn't tell Jay. Fez never cleared up the air, and then Fez passed away. So and to this day, it's it's almost like he did a bit after death a little bit. You know what I mean? He's still entertaining people.
Oh
Post-mortem.
man,
and
that sucks.
But it's kind of what they did to you.
Fez was mad at me for a long time. I mean, I knew that. I could tell at the end of when I called in. This is a totally separate thing, but we're having a good time. We're mixing it up. We're chopping it up. So I'll give you a behind the scenes story. When I called in on the last episode of Ron and Fez to just say how much I enjoyed the show and how influential I thought the show was, and that's one of the greatest, not just radio shows, but shows period. For any medium, that it's one of the all-time greatest shows. I could tell if Fez was a little bit, or if not, just didn't like me. Didn't want to hear it because it was, "Hi, Eastside Dave," like the whole. I could just tell, and I'm like, "Well, that sucks." And it did suck because it's like I've gotten branded. My asshole has been fucking hot sauce. My dick hole's hot sauce. Like I've been to the hospital. Like all I've been is seriously one of the most loyal Ron and Fez people ever. Okay, and that includes now to this, like with this show. So I was upset by that. However, sadly, when my dad died, it did take my dad dying, but the one bright spot was then Fez texted me and we started texting about AEW and WWE and wrestling, and then Fez died. And then Fez himself passed away, I should say. But we had a very nice lovely relationship at the end. And that actually meant a lot to me.
It's almost like one of those biography movies where they claim it's fake. And they're like, at the end, right before Biggie died, he called him, was like, "Hey, I'm going to be a better dad to my kids. I love you." And like, then you know what I mean? It's almost like that.
Yeah, we had, I tell you, Darby Allin. We were both into Darby Allin of AEW. And then I'm like, I like Darby. And Fez is like, "That's my favorite. He's my favorite guy." So I actually predicted called, we had the exact same guy that we both rooted for.
That's awesome.
So that was nice. And yeah, it sucked that he obviously, it really sucks that he died.
Yeah. And even through when I was saying with him being a heel, everybody still loved him and was wanted him to win. It was just, you knew he wasn't going to.
Yeah.
And it made some of the best radio. So I do think it's funny they kept you on the hook. You come on air the next day, you claim, not next day, the next time you're in studio, you're on air and you claim no memory. You're like, "I blacked out on Percocets. Why the hell would they give me these if I could black out?" And
well, there was truth in that. There was 100%
Absolutely.
truth in that because the memory is extremely spotty. I remember getting the text from Earl saying, "Call in." I remember looking out the window or looking out the sliding doors, just looking at trees and going off on Fez for some reason. I remember that. I remember little moments, but yeah, it was those pills are no good for you. Have a joint and a Guinness. Okay, there ain't nothing in the world that a nice little joint ski and a little fucking pint can't cure. You don't need anything else. You don't need the hard drugs, and you definitely don't need the pharmaceuticals. Those are the worst.
Yeah. I've often said this about weed. If it was as bad as the government says it is,
the legal drugs.
They would have made it legal, and there'd be 3 different pharmaceutical companies selling it to you.
Legal drugs like Percocet and Vicodin, Oxycontin, and Xanax are absolute killers. Stay away from them. Get a joint and the Guinness, you'll be fine.
Also, stay away from morphine, muscle relaxers.
Well,
and
yeah, I mean, that's Yes,
if you
stay
have
away from
any,
heroin and shit, of course.
but what I was gonna say is a good way to stay away from all that stuff is if you get them prescribed, you send them to me, and I'll take care of them for you.
God damn you.
But you're in. This
Looks
is
like
where
we're
you-
getting those drug trafficking charges after all. Dr. Steve didn't want them, but the Tales from the Satellite will.
I got it from Dr. Steve. You know Dr. Steve.
Robert, I've sent you the morphine. I was listening to the most recent episode of Davey Mack's Tales from the Satellite. Decided, well, I've got an extra 8-ball hanging around, so I'm going to send that up to Bobby Tambura right now.
I went to visit a buddy in college, and he lived with 3 guys. It was him and 2 others, and one of the guys' names was Nikhil, and we can say this because Nikhil's in prison. And he's in prison because he would do crazy things. But as soon as I got there, my friend was like, "Hey, we're gonna get drunk. Nikhil's gonna try to get you to go drunk driving with him. Like he's gonna try to get you to ride in his car. Don't. He's going to bribe you. He's gonna offer you painkillers. He's gonna offer you anything." So I sat there, and sure enough, we get about 8 beers deep, and Nikhil's like, "I want to go drive in the snow. Who wants to go with me?" And nobody wants to go. And he goes, "Oh, come on, I'll give somebody an oxy." And I was like, "I was prepared for this. And no, I'm not going." And then he goes, "I've got liquid morphine." I go, "I'm getting in that car. I'll see you guys later."
So this guy actually, this was part of his plan. He actually enjoyed after a few cocktails driving. Like he was like, "All right, I got a few cocktails in me. Now it's time to drive."
Yeah, and you've ridden in a car drunk where you're not driving and the radio's on, the wind's growing, you're like, "Oh, it's a nice, cool night.
Oh, yeah.
It'll feel
When
great."
I'm the passenger, I'm loving it. But I mean, to go to be like, "Yeah, okay, I'm nice and buzzed up. Let's go. Who wants to go for a ride? I'm driving." No,
Also,
that's fucking.
That's not how he drove. He drove like he was in Tokyo Drift. We went 90. He was drifting around curves. God, I like
This guy's still alive?
In prison, but still alive. Yeah. So,
What's he in jail for?
I don't know all the details.
I'm probably going to say drunk driving.
I wish. I think it's significantly more severe. I think some
shit.
files ended up somewhere they weren't
Oh,
supposed
boy.
to. Yeah.
Okay, maybe like a murder or something.
Or, corporate espionage.
Oh.
But, I was a big fan. So you're in. Ron goes, "Man, you're tough. I appreciate you for sticking it out." One of my favorite lines the whole time you said was, "Now that I know how perks work, I think I should get them for the bus ride alone." And that truly is representative of the whole opioid crisis in America.
You're bored. Pop a few pills. It makes everything a
Yeah.
lot better.
Ron goes, "You're so tough for doing this." You go, "Yeah, call me the Blue Ox of radio." And that's why we opened this show calling you Dave the Blue Ox of radio.
See, I had no idea. I had
But
no idea what you meant.
Well, you just roll with it, and that's why they call you the consummate entertainer. And, you and Fez kind of patch things up. They play the audio for you. You go, "Oh, boy, I need a fucking drink." And everybody kind of laughs. But at the end, Ron points out, this is the second time you've gotten personal with Fez when you guys are getting into it on air. There's some underlying beef there. And you go, "Yeah, I think there probably is." And as we close the episode, I think it's beautiful that you pointed out maybe there was a beef there. Maybe there wasn't. I'm not going to ask you what the underlying cause was, but what I will say is I'm glad that before it was all over, you guys were able to patch it up.
Yeah, I am too. Yeah, I don't know what the underlying anything was. It's stressful. Life is stressful sometimes. But, all I do is do my best. One of these days, someone's going to recognize that and be like, "You know what? All that guy does is do his best. He fucking brings it every fucking time." And he's been doing it for like almost now 20 years, or he's just fucking bringing the goddamn fire week in and week out, day in and day out, year in and year out. One of these days, that'll be recognized as that fucking guy rocks. Until then, I'll just, figure at one point I'll go out into a cornfield, chop my ear off, and then shoot myself in the head.
The old Van Gogh double tap.
Because that's who I am. I'll get the credit, 20 years from now. When all these like fucking, people, it's practically happening now. Like people who like love me on the Ron and Fez show are getting like, they're like the head writers of shows and shit, which is why, every once in a while I see stuff that happens on the DMSP or lines that we say verbatim pop up in other places.
Oh, yeah. No, I've definitely noticed a couple things from the DMSP making it out there.
I know. That's fine.
I will say most legends aren't appreciated in their time.
I mean, I got a whole entire fucking act based on me, Pat McAfee. Because the Pat McAfee show is the Davey Mack sports program, only with fucking millions and millions and millions of dollars behind it. And we were a good, 10 years earlier than McAfee, who admitted to being an O&A and Ron and Fez fan. Bada bing, bada boom. Boom. That's the ripoff. I'm the real deal. But you can't,
You're the Nick Lowe of radio. You've produced all these great hits, and everybody who's done them, if you asked them deep down, would go, oh, it comes from this guy. But you don't get quite the praise you deserve yet, but there's still plenty of time. And if you guys want Dave to get the praise he deserves, tell people about this podcast.
That's what we need. We want you to share. And this podcast, Davey Mack's Tales from the Satellite, subscribe and share the Davey Mack sports program. We've never been better.
100%.
Show's never been better. I've brought back Yaddle Chattel as a special show. That's my Star Wars podcast and the Eastside Davidson Wrestling Show. Make sure you're subscribing to that. And just follow us. I just did on my YouTube at Eastside Dave TV. I did my first ever, play along live stream with Mario Kart. It went swimmingly. People said it was fantastic. So I'm probably going to be doing more gaming on the old YouTube. I would have done it on Twitch, Robert, but the fucking Twitch doesn't connect with the Nintendo Switch.
I mean,
that seems like an oversight on Twitch, right? That they don't allow Nintendo.
It seems like people think there's a way to do it, so maybe we'll do a little
I'm not
research,
adding in.
but
I got a fucking computer with 2 USB ports. I'm not adding in plug-ons, plug-ins, plug-offs. I'm not doing it. So I'm gonna do my switch. I'm gonna do my twitching on YouTube at Eastside Dave TV. Make sure you're subscribed.
Perfect. On that note, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time, radio family. Good night.